location. For live examples, this is all happening and happened in Middlesbrough, in Cleveland, in United Kingdom. However, it's not just happening there. This is actually happening in every town and city throughout the United Kingdom, Wales, Ireland, and Scotland. So I'm urging everybody, if you have that little bit of time, you want to help and support, even if you've got your own charity organization or you've got your own groups, I'm happy with that, because this is not about me. This is not about the team. This is not about LCS News. This is about people coming together, working together. So when these people are coming forward, they're getting some support, some protection, because it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. You know what this is like, but we will tap into every single part of what we've just been talking about. I hope that helps everybody else.
Can I quickly jump in after you said about the corporate stuff?
Yes, I'll actually start with you, Rangy. Just give me a second. So everybody who is coming in, all I'm just going to say is just mute yourself. I will be going through one by one because I know the list is actually grown on the other side, and we'll just rotate. And you could ask a question, you could drop, and then just request again. We'll bring you back up. That is not an issue. Okay, I want everybody to feel comfortable that we've got plenty of time. We've got till at least 12 o'clock UK time, that is, because I'm not sure where people might be joining in from, so I just want to make that clear. Awakened, let's get you in, because I think you mentioned something about the corporates. Young man, firstly, welcome. Thank you very much for joining me, my brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly jump on about, like you mentioned, the corporate part and how it's important within this system that we're in. I mean, come on, people. I know a lot out of weight to this yet, but the fact that your birth certificate is very important within this system is because these services that are actually taking the children need to acquire the birth certificate within, I think it's 24 or 48 hours before they can actually even take a child, which is again proof that, you're born into this slave type system through a corporate entity which has been created through a contract of your parents signing you over, like registering like you do with your car. When you register your car, you actually give up ownership to it. You'll become the registered keeper, and it's the same principle with the child in some senses. Have you noticed, like other civilizations, I don't mean like different to us, are still human beings, like, we're all one, but we all live across the world in different ways. You never had to register your children back in there. And that's how they've got through this administration, corporate, maritime, admiralty law, to be able to access them even easier, to take them away. I just wanted to just add that on when you said about the corporate stuff, because it's very important that they have to acquire that birth certificate within, I think it's 24 or 48 hours of actually taking the child. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I'm pretty much right.
No, yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much. I want you to stay there as well, so just in case if anybody wants to go into delve in these topics, because everything we're talking about leads back to our babies, our vulnerable, our women and children are the most vulnerable amongst our society, and they are the one that are targeted. Okay, I want to make that very clear. But what I'm going to do is, I know there's some...
Also, as well, don't apologise as well. You don't need to apologise.
Right, what I'm going to do is, seeing as though you've said something, because I'm going through each one. I know.
Yeah, I'm talking about the last guy that just spoke. Like, he doesn't need to apologise for something that's he can't control, and I think we need to give him,
Oh, 100%, 100%. He's not. He's just been courteous. He's a great man, to be perfectly honest.
Yes, very much courteous, and understand that we shouldn't all be arguing on these subjects. We all should be coming together and understanding every subject, whether how dark it is. We need to bring the light to it.
Yeah,
100%. Brother, we're just going to go straight to you. Drag M, if you could, did you have a question or a comment?
No, I just joined, so
All
I'm
right. Okay.
still listening, but I just didn't like the way that, you know, the last guy was not treated, but, you know, like I wanted his voice to be heard. So,
Oh, 100%. It's going to be heard loud and clear. He knows that. We're going to
good,
make sure
good.
it's loud and clear. And like I said, he's a humble man. He's another parent, and he's doing a fantastic job. And I love the guy. I think he's absolutely amazing. But if you just
Rangy, let me just quick jump in what he said now. Thank you for that. Respect, brother. I mean, I know if you look at my channel myself, is that I talk about a totally different aspect altogether. I talk more about rights and the actual law, but, you know, respect to all these others that are talking, you know, the process of us all bringing all these things together is very important, because I share the law and people's rights. People might adapt to that, to what's happening in this world that we're talking in now. And, you know, together as a community, when we all understand these and we can go to certain people to be able to get justice, it's very, very important. Knowledge is power, and I'm out. Thank you.
No, I totally agree with you. I just want to add one thing with it. He's 100% right. That law is going to be implemented with what's going on. All these are not separate. It's actually connected, because they've created, the system has created a web of deception. Okay. And all these parts are actually fitting into the same puzzle. So it's very important to, with the law side of it, 100%. But what I'm going to do is, if everybody can mute yourself, I'm going to go to this person here. There's no name on it. I do apologize. I don't know how to call you.
Hello. I have been here before. My name used to be Tilly. Yeah. I've just come on to say, basically, I'm so grateful that everybody is actually making the effort to discuss all of this kind of stuff, because it's happening so much more now than it ever used to. They're getting so much more, that eventually it will get to the point where there are enough people to actually step forward and say what's actually happening. Because, like, I've been through it when I've been emotional for it. I've gone away for 6 years. I've had to come back and go through it again. So I've sort of seen all sides of it. But you know, I've started to think recently, is it a situation where, because I think a lot of the system changed when Tony Blair became in power, and if you look back at the time when he was leading, he's got a lot. I don't know what I'm allowed to say without getting getting the live in trouble, but he's got a lot of things that went on with the PDF system and things like that. Whilst he was in power, the MPs, and he changed a lot of the system. And his dad was a high court judge for years, so he knows how to design the court system to make it very, very difficult. And what he wanted to do, he wanted to basically take low-income families, basically make it very difficult for them to have, you know, a situation with the social workers. He basically said, let's target low-income families, because apparently their children are going to have problems when they grow up. He said that what they're going to do is he's going to make it. He's going to basically put loads of issues in place, you know, sort of thing. And if you work with them, you can do. I've forgotten what the word is, but basically it's making it easy for children to be accessible to PDFs.
Yeah, so one of the excuses, or what is put in place, is what's known as future risk of emotional harm. I mean, how the hell do these people work it out? How do they know what the future looks like?
I think what people need to realise as well is that joining the EU was a big problem, because that opened up that category for them to be able to do that, because we then fell under EU laws instead of his own laws. Let's not forget that, because it goes, you said Tony Blair, but it's deeper than that. It goes even back to Ted Eve, Cyril Smith, and you know, this has been going on for a very, very, very long time. It's even way back before the 70s.
The problem is, though, back a day, they couldn't just take your kids for any old reason. People were given rights, you know, back a day. And it got to a certain point where there was a year when it did change the system, the way that the social services handle people, it did change. And I think that's what people need to start spreading the word about, because there needs to be a complete overhaul of the system. Because what's basically happening is complete and utter corruption, you know, and I've been through a lot of it. I've seen it from all sides, and I can say that you know, that first of all, yes, the children are being abused in the system 100%. But before we even go on to that, it's about how they're taking our kids, stealing our kids.
And
You know,
this is where I say, when you look at when we joined the so-called economic community, if you look at the statistics from before that till when we went into that, and then after that, you'll see the difference in that subject. And I swear to God, honestly, look at it and you will see it.
have you looked at Tony Blair Forced Adoptions on YouTube and seen his evil face, what he's been doing?
Yeah,
You know,
he's
he
a
was the one that
very
designed-
evil man. He's more of a, I'd say, draconian type of person.
Yeah, I've looked into it. Do you know how many of his people that was under his party were involved in very serious allegations with children? One of them was very, very close with one of the care system people. That there was a care home in Leicester, and it got closed down for how terrible abuse that went on there. The man that actually the man that run it burnt all the files before the police could get it. It still got closed down, but the children were so badly abused there, they committed SUI. I don't know how to say it on here without getting in trouble, but basically one of his MPs at the time was very, very close, kept visiting that care home, and he never got I can't remember what went on, but Tony Blair stuck up for him. There's so much involved in it. He was also very close with other people that came out. I've looked so deep into it. If you Google Tony Blair PDF, like, you know, a lot of it does come up.
Yeah, you'll also find that his name wasn't actually Tony Blair, and you'll find that he committed an incident in a toilet, a bit
That's
like,
right.
you know, other people that have done similar things, and he were convicted of that supposedly, and he got next to nothing because he was
that's
an
right.
establishment elite.
Yeah,
He's
you know,
been there for a very long time.
well, this is the thing, you see, the game is actually over. We know all this. This is what we need to focus on, where we're going to go with this. Because, look, as somebody just mentioned about Savile. Same thing about Savile. These people have actually been supporting themselves. So when they're talking about pedophiles, for example, and by the way, near 10,000 likes, or once it goes into 10,000 likes, I don't want people to say it in different words. Say it as it is. This is the life that we don't hold back, okay? Because, look, the pedophiles in the authorities, our mayors, our councillors, in the parliament, they're pedophiles. And then on top of that, when they're stealing our children by manufacturing documents, manufacture concerns, manufacture crimes, and then steal our children, this is known as child trafficking. This is not one of those lives that we like hold back. We don't hold back here. Okay, so I want everybody to feel free. Remember, all I'm expecting is people to respect each other, and I respect every single person that comes in the boxes and in the comments. So I want to keep that simple, because this is the reality. But why should we sugarcoat it? Because it's the authorities. Whose authorities are they? I mean, the social services is not even our government. It's a private corporate company owned by foreign internationals. Who's our police? It's not our police department. It's a private corporate company owned by foreign internationals. Who's the courts? They're hired out. It's not even our judges. Nobody's doing anything right. And they call themselves our law. They're not our law. They don't even abide by the law. So here, I've given everybody the encouragement that don't hold back. If you do sugarcoat it, I'm only going to unsugarcoat it for you anyway, because I know I don't want to get anybody in issues and problems. But this is happening. This has been happening for a long time. The first time I stumbled across this was in 2011 in the Parliament. It was in November, where they were trying to legalize sex at the age of 13-year-old. And I remember I went to all my communities around where I was, businesses everywhere. And I was talking about this, and everybody said, hey, Rangy, it's not going to happen. We're not going to do this. We're not going to fall for this. And I was telling them, you're missing the point. Which psychopath come up with this idea to begin with in the House of Parliament?
Yeah, what would that MP? What would that female MP that were pushing to drop the legal age of consent to about 12?
That was Harriet Harman.
Harriet Harman, yeah, that's the one. Oh my God, that says it all to people. Come on, man.
And this is where we need to sort this crap out, because who's paying the price for it? Our babies. And I want to remind, this is that same nation that we used to hear about one child. across the oceans on another continent, and we would rise up together. Yet today, I'm witnessing my own self that this is happening in every town and city throughout the United Kingdom, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and we're asleep.
Rangy, are you aware of that protest that were in Manchester today? That were for the children, apparently, that one that I've seen. There were a big protest for them lefties against it in Manchester today.
Well, look, get the word out to everybody. Everybody that's doing these protests, we need to come together, arrange one protest that will do the damage. And, you know, people tell me, hey, let's get 1 million, 2 million, 3 million people go to London. Well, what's the point of going to London? It's happening everywhere. So my suggestion is, and this is the reason why everybody's coming together, if everybody did a protest on one day in every town and city, we could raise 5, 10, 15,000 people in each location. First thing is, everybody who doesn't know about it will now know about it because it'll be everywhere. Everybody's got your phones today. You can live stream it. You can take videos of it. Get it out there. Get it to the public. Anybody wants any clarity with what we're talking about, please don't be shy. Come forward. Let the police come forward. Let these professionals, so-called, come forward. But we know ourselves, there's a lot of police officers who are raping kids as well. Raping women in police stations, in the cells.
The problem is it needs to get to the point where that's all people are like literally living for, because it's shocking to me to see so many people that have been through it and they don't, like you said, people aren't turning up or people aren't doing this or doing that. So we can't, you know, there's nothing really we can say about it until people are going to get to the point where they've had enough and they come out on the street, you know, then I don't know what to say. Do you know what I mean?
I need to really jump in what you're saying there, because the problem is within the English community is that they've been drilled down that much by the government, is that most people, I'm not saying everyone, that they don't know what to do. They don't know which way to turn because they've been that much brainwashed and that much fucking whatever you want to call it by so many different parties. Which way would you want? There's confusion, there's cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, so look, the answer
the main thing above it all is the big divide between everything. It don't matter what it is. There's a divide between what fucking milk you drink, for fuck's sake. What's going on there?
Yeah, you're right. It starts from the top. What they're doing it on purpose, yeah.
Now look, there is, I'm just going to add on, look, there is solutions in there. One of the things you mentioned there, which is 100% bang on right, that they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do because they don't really know. A lot of people are sheep that are on the right side. They need to be led. And this is why I'm urging everybody. It doesn't matter what town or your city, where you are. If you stand up and do the right thing, they will follow. They will listen and they could be taught. We could show them about manufacturing documents, manufacturing concerns, manufacturing crimes. We could show them about the paedophile rings, what is actually been going on. We could talk to them about, obviously, the G gangs with evidence, fact findings. Remember, this is not your family court of crap findings. This is what we're doing is fact findings. We'll bring that information, we'll slap it in their faces, and they'll have it. And this is the way to wake people up. I mean, this, you know, I can't even emphasize how much we've all got to keep pushing, got to keep doing. It does seem like a lot of people are asleep. They are. But what it is, over the last years now, we're having millions of people who are actually awake, but they don't know what to do. Now, the challenge that I've seen now is a lot of people out there are instigating issues and problems within campaigners, that they're trying to target everybody, including myself. Many of us are being targeted. Okay, this is to divide us. The same rulership that's been going on, and every time we get divided, our resources go less. And this is why I'm saying, you know, if you want to be in a different group, we're happy with it. At least let's say if you're in Birmingham, I've got people in Birmingham, Leeds, Manchester, Bradford, Luton, London. Actually, you'd best off telling me where you are, and I'll get you the victims that are struggling.
Rangy,
this is how bad it is.
Rangy, brother, this is exactly why I've got my channel, because it's not about colour of skin, it's not about religion. Yeah. Well, it kind of is behind religion with my channel, but that's only based on the law. So while we're in this country, the one thing that England offers all the world is that the fact that you're in this country, all our laws, rights and privileges, you are granted for being in our country. So we can use them things against the establishment if there's enough of us.
Absolutely, because remember, 100% what we said, the laws that are already here are perfect. The problem is, it's not been implemented on these corporate companies. They don't follow the law. They break court orders, they abuse, they cover up. It's complete, pure corruption is exactly the words my sister says. Yeah, and she's bang on right. It's pure corruption. And that doesn't mean everybody's corrupt. I just want to make that clear as well. Over my time, the amount of social workers that have come forward, and we're looking at about 5,000 to 10,000 of them, that they've been bullied, intimidated, threatened, sacked, removed, sent on the sick. This is a constant process of what they're doing. Anybody who speaks up, they get them out the way, because all they're doing is stealing our children. What they do now with children, well, maybe we'll come into that on the question, because that is a lot dangerous, but it's happening. And if you can't stomach it, this is not the live to be on. I just want to make it clear, because I'm not holding anything back. Nothing should be held back. If I could firstly just go 1 second away, because I know this young man hasn't said anything. Drag me, is there anything that you wanted to add? And also, if anybody wanted to get into the box to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. Drag me, did you have a question, young man?
Good evening, everyone.
Drag me. Right, okay, because I'm just gonna, if you're there, I'm just gonna drop you. If you wanted to ask a question, feel free to just jump back on. I just want to leave the boxes open so it gives the opportunity to everybody just keep jumping on.
Hi, Rangy.
Hi, Carmel. You've unmuted yourself. Did you have a question or a comment?
No, just I was off there for a little while, so sorry I just come back on, and I'm just saying hello to everyone and welcome to the team. Please continue to share out as much as you can into every platform. We need to wake these people up. We need the truth to be told. The corruption is horrific. It's happening so much where I am that there's mums coming up. Trigger warning, there's mums coming up on live TikToks on their own, and sadly the young mums, which brings you right back to the young mums that was married that wasn't married in wedlock, and the nunnery and the priests, which all them babies were killed. They weren't just killed, these little babies was buried in a septic tank. It was all over the BBC. It's still happening. Sorry, Rangy, it's still happening. There's a girl live on TikTok. I forwarded the footage to yourself, Rangy, today again. It's got really horrific, because do you know what? I'm a 56-year-old lady. And what that wee girl's recent video was saying, she's a 21-year-old, long story short, social services have taken her two children, one from the south of Ireland, one from the north of Ireland. And the social services are trying to free one for adoption. And she's freaking out. She is a very young, very vulnerable mummy on her own. The social services have contacted her and attacked her, saying, get your TikToks down, take your children off your TikToks, or you will never see them again before they're sold off basically to Dubai or wherever, guys and ladies. I'm telling you now, this is so huge.
Can I just jump in? Can I just jump in there, love? Sorry to cut you off.
Can I finish? This
Go, Kamal, finish.
she went from telling her story, and I went on. It just come up, whatever, earlier today, and she was screaming, she was crying, she was saying, and I can relate at a 56-year-old, very old book lady. I can relate to the aggression she had because that's what social services do.
Thank you,
They,
Carmel.
you're welcome, darling. Oh, she's here.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh
Can I just quickly
you're
jump in before I
here,
forget this
darling,
thought?
You're here.
Sean
1 second,
Atwood,
awakening. Just 1 second, brother. Kamel, if you just leave that for a moment, because I'll come directly to the sister in a second.
honestly, Rangy, quickly. Can I just quickly add on to that? Because Sean Atwood did a very, very important podcast where they had a woman from Southern Ireland who got put into the laundry, and it exactly explains like what you're saying. People need to see that podcast.
Can I just finish without being interrupted because it's rude, guys? My daughter's
Right, Kamel, can you quickly finish up then? Because I was just getting.
if I'm not interrupted,
I want this separately. Go on, just go now.
The rest of these ones. So, on that note, the message I first seen on her TikTok the other day, she was like reaching out, asking, soul searching, please, anybody, everyone, anybody can hear me, help me. It went from that to her. She was a broken girl. The TikTok I seen last night was so broken. It brought me to where I was a few weeks ago, and I'm 56 coming. And only for Rangy, I would not be here. I tried, sweetheart. I'm so glad you joined.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Honest to God, I do. And my heart was out to you. What I'm trying to say is, if you guys, whenever you come off the live or go and look at her TikTok, this goes a girl from normal girl, a lovely mommy, right? Doesn't matter the age, race, color, whatever. I don't give a shit. My point right now is the social services will do whatever the fuck they can to make you go insane. Yeah. They break you. They will put all these allegations up about assumptions, allegations, assuming, very malicious intent. And there's nothing about it. They have no evidence. They have fuck all on anything. They will continue with their LAC meetings and the reports. North, south, I don't care where in the world. This happens everywhere. The amount of crap I've seen from yesterday to today is horrific. And if there's no man standing behind us fucking women, what he is doing, because it's us mothers that birthed these children. We created these children with your sperm, right? Don't interrupt me. Not one he's interrupt me. Because this young girl, thank God she's come on to Rangy's platform, right? Because she doubted me, because another fella took advantage. Another fucking fella took advantage of her.
So let her speak then. Let her speak. Let her speak. Let her speak and say her story then.
No, because she's no. You need to mute yourself, please.
No, you need to shut up and let her speak.
I want to get to the girl because I would need to give her some instructions.
Yes, but I know how she feels. I know her triggers, and I'm here to protect her. So if every male wants to be quiet, because that's a huge trigger for her.
You were a handler.
Right, just mute yourself now, but Kamel as well. Firstly, Rebecca, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So Rebecca, did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's extremely difficult.
You're safe, Rebecca. Trust me, you're safe.
Yeah.
Let me just so what I wanted to say, Rebecca, before you say anything else, is I want you to be careful of what you say, especially if while you're in any form of proceedings. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot we could chat about and talk about, but if you want to, from your own words, if there's things that you want to say, by all means, feel free. But don't give your details out, please.
Yeah.
Okay. Go on, Rebecca, because it's very important that we hear from people directly as well. So I'm going to leave it up to you now, just for a few moments. If you don't worry about nothing. Get in safe hands, a safe environment, and that's why I'm giving you the safeguarding procedures as well to make sure.
So basically, hi everybody. My name is Rebecca. I was abused from a very, very young age. Taken off my father, thrown into this system, and then gave back to my father, even though there was multiple concerns of allegations there. And now, because I was abused by my father, they now took both of my children. They're trying to free my eldest little girl for adoption, and they're trying to get an order out on just my 6-month-old baby boy. He's only 6 months, guys. And to be honest, at this point, I don't know what to do. I just want my babies back. They're telling me that cannabis is the problem. I'm coming off that. I'm doing everything they need me to do. And it's not enough. I'm trying my best. They're emotionally now targeting me, telling me that if I keep going out with my story, that there will be serious, serious consequences. Telling me to take my pictures down off my children, that it exposes them. But they're my children and I had them. I just don't understand. It's like... And then they take my children off me for potential abuse, potential sexual abuse, potential physical abuse, potential all this bull crap. And I'm sick of it. And it's gotten to the point now that they're in court with my first little girl and they're trying to free her for adoption. And the adoption agency has come back and says, look, we're still trying to make up what we're going to do here. And apparently the courts has given me a amount of time to see if she would be freed for adoption. But they're just lingering it. They're dragging on this case as long as they can. And now they're involving DNA tests to do with my second eldest to try and remove him, to put him up in Belfast to adopt him. Like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I just want my babies back, and I don't sleep at night. I don't have a penny to my name. They won't help me get social welfare. I can't get an ID sorted. Guys, I don't know what to do. I genuinely don't know what to do.
Right. Firstly, I want you to take the safeguarding side of it. When they turn around and say, take your information off public media. I want you to do that. There's a reason for that, because I don't want to give them ammunition to what they're doing. However, I think most people who are listening in, they know they're just delaying because they're just in on trying to sell your kids off. Okay, it's all about profit. But when it comes to public side of it, I'm going to speak off the record here, so I'm letting everybody know as well. What we do is, or what we go into, it's already in place. I just can't give the time and date at the moment for safeguarding reason for the team itself. What you can't do, we can. We'll go public on your story, but we are still going to do safeguarding and child protection. We're going to make sure your name is not mentioned, your children's is not mentioned, because I can't for any. And if they want to stop us, we'll deal with that when the time comes to it. But we are, I think Kamel might have even mentioned, I'm coming towards you very soon anyway. Okay?
Yeah.
But I'll go into this topic later on today as well. But this is for everybody else who's listening in. Have a think about it. This is somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, how they're suffering here today. And this is not just one person. There's millions of children like this, young mothers, parents like this that are suffering. They don't know the system because the system is corrupt. They're too busy manufacturing documents.
Would I be able to just say something quickly?
I need to jump in there because the fact
one second,
no, you all need to listen to this because
I've been through it myself when I got my baby home.
Yeah,
okay, so I just want to say to her, she can do it. She just needs to fight it. There is a way you can do it, but it has to be fought in court. Do everything you can, and you will be able to fight this. Just don't
I
let them
agree.
take
I
do not
agree
let them
with
take their babies because
no.
they are wrong. Do you know what I mean? Don't
Yeah,
believe anything they say. Do everything.
no.
Give them nothing to hold against you.
Yeah.
I agree with you there, sister, and this is why we're trying to get people to wake up, try to come forward, try to help and support, because there's loads of daughters like this, loads of sisters like this out there that are suffering in silence. You know, if anybody wants to help and support, really, really appreciate it, because you're helping mothers like this. You know, just listening to this sister here, this daughter of someone, it it would break me apart inside, thinking, oh my, because I've got a daughter, I know what it's like. How can we allow these things to take place? And then, you know, because she's been in the system, you would think that they take the child and put him in the system to have a better life. But you see what's been used against her. Because she's been in the system, she's not capable of keeping the child, which is a repeat order business. It's just child trafficking once you enter the system. The system
Exactly,
is
brother.
not to such a level, it needs to be dissolved. Awakened, let me just go to you first.
Yeah. I wanted to quickly jump onto that because, like you say, you're born into the system. So when you're born into the system, is that straight away, when a child is born, they want you to register that child. If you
Yeah.
don't register that child, you are threatened with either fine or penalty of prison.
And they forced me
Why?
to sign a Section 20 as well.
Exactly. So let me carry on here. What I'm saying is that the fact that you submit your child under what it's stated on the birth certificate is what does it say? Informant, which is a grass. Now you've handed up ownership of your own child, and then that child has come under copyright because it states at the bottom of the birth certificate that it's Crown copyright, where they've capitalised your surname. You know, look, I know it's maybe a mad thing for people to realise these things, but listen, you're born of the water and they're operating under maritime admiralty law, which is of the water. I mean, you can look at the SESQ-V Act 1666, where the fire of Pudding Lane, Fire of London, where they said everything got burnt down, we need to bring everything into trust. And then you'll understand as well how they've been able to take it, because they've been the holder of the trust, which you've signed over to them. And it's a deep, dark, horrible system, and it needs to come down. But the only way it's going to come down is by the awakening of the people being aware of it. It's collective consciousness. It can't go any other way.
Court case have you got left, Rebecca? Are you still early in it?
Still early in it. They forced me to sign the Section 20 and told me that if I did not sign it, that they were removing my baby anyway, and they were going to bring the other social workers down as witness, and I'd be fucked. That's what they told me.
Okay,
your children are your intellectual property.
Because they're saying about cannabis use. Are they doing a drugs test on you?
They have, and they've only found cannabis in my system. Like I told them, that's what I've ever touched. They even did urines on my little boy that was only 3 days old, God bless him, and nothing came up on his system, not even cannabis, because I knew not to smoke heavy. And they're trying to say that I was on crack as well, but I was already examined. It proved that.
But wait now. Why?
Is it mental health?
Mental health as well, yeah.
Are they saying you've got to have private therapy? Have you ever heard of the Priory Clinic? You
No.
can get your own private therapy.
Never
if
heard
they
of that.
need therapy, don't let them pay, because they tried to do it to me, and basically it was the worst, horriblest, evilest woman you've ever met. I had to pay $3,000 private therapy. I found something called the Priory Clinic. They're all over the UK. You can go there and you can get therapy yourself. I just wanted to let you know that.
Just 1 second, sister. Sister that's talking with the blue eye there. I'll call you Blue Eye anyway. The issue is here, she's actually in Ireland, okay? And the laws are slightly different there as well. And this is what you got to look at. And this is why I need people to come together, because you can actually, you're 100% right about don't use their system and their doctors, but we need to find the right people for her. because there are people out there, the right doctors and the right psychiatrists and mental health units, but we need to hunt them down. Okay, so I just wanted to add on to my blue eye. I hope you don't mind me calling you blue eye because there's no name on there. Did he hear me, sister?
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
Telly,
That's
Rangy.
I just had to say, because I've been through it with my son, they tried to put my son up for adoption. I thought I got him home, and now he's 10. They've taken me back to court for him, pick him off him again. But I just want to let you know that I have one before, and I know how to do it. If you go to the Priory clinic, right, they're all over Ireland and the UK, but it's going to cost you thousands.
Well, I think what would be a good idea if you drop us a message and we'll start linking up with these things, because it's a desperate thing, but we have to start bringing everybody together, getting all the resources, because obviously between the whole members of the public, it will help. If I could just quickly, just for 1 second, I know we got somebody in new there, Alice, I believe it is Alice.
Sorry, before
Alice,
Rebecca sent me a wee message on WhatsApp, Pat.
I will.
Alice, can you hear us, Alice? Did you have a question or a comment?
I'm just trying to say, I'm going through temporary foster care with my daughter at the moment. I have been asked to sign an adoption paper, and I have said to them that I'm not going to sign them papers because I don't want my child being took away completely. But I'm still going through investigations. So I've got a court case in May and I've got a court case in July for the final evidence.
Okay, this is in the family courts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, and I presume you're in the UK, is that correct?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be normal standard crop findings that they'll be providing, not fact findings. I mean, if there's anything that we could do, let us know. Okay, if you don't want to speak on here, feel free to maybe contact Neo on the top there or go through the website, and we'll try to help wherever we can and get the right people around you. And it depends on which town and city you are. We might already have dirt on that town or on the social workers that are involved, because we are going to start releasing all this information to protect the members of the public, so you know exactly who's involved with already being liars, criminals and storytellers, Alice.
But in whatever country you are, do not sign them adoption papers. You are a parent to those children.
I agree with you. Yeah, you know, even though I agree with
you. Know you have got you do not sign them adoption papers.
No, 100%. You shouldn't sign anything that you don't understand, because it's just an entrapment. Now, I just want to add on, even though the brother Awakened was talking about the birth certificates, I've actually known children to be taken even without a birth certificate. Okay? Because these people
Same
don't
as
care.
my son, he was taken with no birth certificate.
I put my daughter as a dad's name, so...
No, I understand, but I'm adding that on now, just so people don't think that it's just about the birth certificate. It is about birth certificate. It plays a big part in it, even though it's fraudulent. I'll explain to you what I mean by fraudulent.
Yeah, birth certificates mean fuck all right now because the Pope has passed. So all birth certificates and registration means...
Kamel, can I finish off,
If
please?
the social want to take your kid, though, they're going to take your kid. It don't matter whether they've got a birth certificate. It don't matter anything.
Yeah, so let me just finish off there. So, you know, when we talk about the birth certificate, when it's actually given to you under fraud, the way they have done it, it doesn't really actually have any value. Okay, so whether you got a birth certificate or not a birth certificate, they don't care, because they commit fraud in the course to begin with. They lie, cheat, deceive, and there's certain benefits that they try to get away with. So I just wanted to make that clear so people actually understand that. Okay, I don't want it just be focused on that. It's actually all of it. The whole issue is problem is the issue with everything, not just the birth certificate. Because at the end of the day, why are women and children suffering? Why are they stealing children? And overall, bottom line is they're manufacturing documents, manufacturing concerns, and manufacturing crimes against vulnerable parents in order to steal our kids. Where does that make sense?
It's deeper
And that,
it's deeper.
sorry, just 1 second, sister. I just want Alice to finish off because I want to give the opportunity. Alice? Alice?
I don't really want to put that much on here, to be honest.
No, 100%. Don't put it on here. Look, you've got Nia above you. You've got obviously a brainstorm, or you could go to the website and we could chat separately. I just want to remind, there's a lot of things we've been doing over the last 4 weeks. We're doing a transition from TikTok into private Zoom meetings where we could have open dialogues that we don't have to hold back. Okay, and there it is private, it's not public, and you'll get a lot more information from there and advice and what we're actually doing behind the scenes. Just on public media, you know, we're exposing, we're breaking silence, we're reaching out to the members of the public, like Awakening mentioned earlier. The main thing is the public need to come together. It's about a unity. They've been dividing us to conquer us. It's about time we now started uniting to combat this issue and problem. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the problem. There is nothing we can do to get around it. Once they want to do that, that is what they want to do. Do you know what I mean? That we have got no rights at all in the situation. The fact that you can't even have an open court. You know, children could be protected. Their identities could be protected by covering the names. They don't want it out there because it's unlawful.
Yeah, so let me just, I think somebody just put a comment in there. How can we join? Now, which part of what you wanted to know? I think it was Tolobo, is it? If you want to help and support...
no, she wants to get in a box, Rangy.
Say again.
I'll put the information there.
She's requesting to get in a box. She wants to know how. So I've just told her.
Yeah, well, I was asking her, the person, because do they want to join the box or do they want to...
Yes. She wants to try and
they
get
already
in the box.
know, everybody knows if you want to join into the box, you need to just put a request in. Okay, and when that happens, if there's more in there, all I'll just do is drop some team members and just to get it in, because everybody needs to have their word. There's not an issue, not the box. Thank you very much. I didn't think it was the box that you were talking about. My suggestion is going to be, if anybody wants to chat separately, you want to join and support in general with the campaigning or the public members to support them, contact us through www.lcs.news. Go to where it says contact us and submit a ticket. In the subject, put in what you need or what you want to do. If you want to help and support, put in there that you want to volunteer to help and support. If you need help and support, put in that you need help and support and gives a description of what you need help and support on. And that goes for anybody, because anybody could be reaching out forward and communicating and getting together to support this cause. And then if you want to also join the private Zoom meetings that we have, you could also put that in there, but you'll have team members that will pick it up and communicate with you. Both. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. If you do that, we could probably pick it up, but the chances are, I know the team's working overtime at the moment, but they will pick it up usually within 2 days. It's just we have been overwhelmed with victims. That's where we have been struggling with. So if you want to help, I'd really, really appreciate it. And it doesn't matter if you're in Scotland, it doesn't matter if you're in Ireland, it doesn't matter if you're in Wales, it doesn't matter if you're in the UK, and it doesn't matter what town and city you are. Literally, you can help and support from your desk at home. And if you're a solicitor, if you know about safeguarding, you know about child protection, please come forward, because we've got women and children who are suffering in every town and city. So I hope that clears that side of it. We will repeat that a number of times throughout the evening, but let me just get Brain Business. Can you just unmute yourself, young man?
Hello.
How you doing, Brain Business? Did you want to add anything on?
No, not too much. I was just very shocked earlier by that young lady's story. I just think
Yeah.
we need to try and do what we can here as quickly as possible if we can do anything.
Look, there's always something we could do. Because let me tell you something. One of the biggest crises that a lot of people are neglecting, when children are allowed or parents are allowed to go through this suffering, the longer the suffering, the more they're going down a hole that they'll end up committing suicide. Suicide rate has gone through the roof. And we're talking about minimum 5,000 fathers a year. That doesn't mean mothers aren't. I'm getting reports of women every single day. Mothers, think about this. When I'm talking about mother, it always reminds me that it's somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's mother who is committing suicide. How are we living in a society like this while this genocide is taking place? How can we live like this? And it's about time people start reaching out just a little bit. And for those who may be curious how bad this is, you know, they say in England, curiosity killed the cat. And this is what these lives are for. Come forward and we'll slaughter all the cats for you. Get it out the way with. Simple as that. We need fact findings, not crap findings, and we need people who care about daughters and sons in the members of the public, including the fathers. The majority of you, if you are women, what I'm going to say to you is give a nudge to your husband, give a nudge to your son and your brother or your grandfather, because there are more women out there fighting this fight and suffering than anything else. How can we live like this, my brothers? And it's our job that we should be standing up. We come to a society where instead of having men stood at the front and protecting women and children behind, we got women and children at the front and we're stood behind. It's not going to happen. And those who can need to come forward. That's what I'm going to say. Alice, is it? Sorry, Bright, you were going to say something?
No, not just yet. Sorry, mate. I'm just in the door and I'm in the middle of dinner and everything. But maybe just thank you to everyone who's here and to everyone who's sharing their stories. It's painful, we know, but at least.
Yeah, so one of the things, just because the brother mentioned about stories, what I don't want, and this is not what we do here. This is not a platform where we talk about stories. I don't want people to relive their nightmares. I'm trying to get people the right support, what they could have. But when it comes to breaking silence, let's help you break silence properly. But you gotta have within it safeguarding. You gotta do the child protection and safeguard the parents before you go public. That's something that we at LCS News, we are going to be doing that very shortly on every single case. I mean, the last 2 weeks, the amount of professionals, we gave you their names. And now we're also providing you the evidence. We're handing you the evidence. What more do you want? And this is the reason, I mean, due to safeguarding child protection, we're limited what we could say or show on public media. But when we have our private Zooms, we could do a lot more. And this is why I keep reminding that. For any further clarity, please get in touch. I have 5 decades worth of evidence. Brother or sister it is, whichever, if you got evidence, brother, that's what it's all about. We're bringing everything out. There's no exemption notices. We don't care who they are, what they are. No titles, no color, creed, religion, title, no flags. I'm not bothered. This is abuse. Criminal is a criminal. Doesn't have a title, does it? And that's the way we need to think now. Instead of what they've been doing is causing a divide and conquer amongst us, the public. So if anybody, by the way, I know I had a few that may have probably dropped. If anybody wants to join, feel free to ask any questions relating to anything above there or anything that maybe somebody's mentioned that you want to ask. But I'm going to go back to Alice again, only because she's new. If there's anything she wanted to say, feel free. She knows she's not going to say too much. She could contact us separately. But is there anything you wanted to add, sister? I'd like to give that time to everybody, that's all.
How can they do it? I mean, I've got one child in my care still at the moment, and they've ended up taking my other one. So why haven't they took my other child?
Yeah, so let me give you an example of just with what you said. There was a case back up northeast of England. I'm not giving the names and details. This young mother had a child, so they got involved in the home affair and they stole that baby. Now we know they stole that baby because then later they said to her that let this child go, you're young enough to have more children. She now has another 3 more children and can't work out, well, why did you take the first one away to begin with? This is stealing children. These are evidence cases. You understand? It had nothing to do with safeguarding, nothing to do with child protection, purely child trafficking. They don't like it, what we're saying, but this is the reality of it. And this is a little bit of what I think my sister was just saying there. That's exactly what they're doing. Is that about right, Alice?
Can I just say that, you know, when they've got one of your children, they're allowing you to hold on to the other one. This is one of their little plays where they're trying to break you, okay? Because then they can just snatch the other child very, very easily. So don't let it break you. Just know that, you know, that
I'm a strong woman and I'm fighting all the ways I can.
You're that baby's mum. And so, you know, you're going to have to gain the strength to fight the battle. But you know what? You're not alone. And so we'll do what we can to help you. I don't know how long it'll take, but we've got to do something because this is just getting so absolutely ridiculous.
Now, one thing I'm going to add on to that, one thing is for sure, it doesn't matter which town or city you're in, this is about, you would say, networking, okay? And this is why we're appealing all the time. Wherever this sister is going to be or wherever you're available in every town and city, if we know where you are as volunteers who understand what is going on, that want to help and support another mother, another father, another child, son or daughter of someone, please come forward. If we know where you are, we could link you up to the right people or to the right people who actually need help and support. There's nothing worse that you're going through this carry on and this trauma and you're speaking to somebody who really doesn't care or doesn't understand and you're reliving your trauma. That is not a good thing because eventually you get sick of it and you feel helpless and eventually it leads back down to committing suicide, traumatizing. It's not going to happen. And this is why we're saying again, anyway, it doesn't matter where you are. If we know where you are, we'll pin you up on the website where you are, and then we'll pass you people who are local. We need to build teams and people collectively in every town and city. It's no longer an isolated situation in one part of the country. So let me give you some figures that might wake you up. 2.5 years ago, they were taken in the region of 180 to 200,000 children a year. You did hear me that right. 180 to 200,000 children a year. And on the government website, there was an article, it might still be on there, that it tells you that they have a target for 2025. So between then and 2025, their target is to take 2.5 million of our babies, for the love of God. That's not small figures. These are massive figures. And this is figures that they're taking. I mean, Kamel was speaking earlier on, so I'll utter that again and remind what else is going on. So in Ireland, there is a case that came forward. Not many people have heard about it. Why? Because they like to cover these things up. Where they found 790 children's corpses in a septic tank. And the place where it was run by some nuns, part of a church. And that, forget, now you've heard about that. Now let me bring you home in UK. You do know they've been finding mass graves in churchyards of children. This is happening. And what they're doing is they keep making us divided and conquered, causing a distraction over here. Hey, look over here, while they're robbing, raping, stealing over here. And this is going to stop. It's our job to do the right thing. The police, when they decide to wake up, but the police are working for the private corporate companies. They don't work for us. They only work for corporate companies. They actually hired prostitutes, okay? And let me be very clear with that. Neo, maybe if you've got the figures there for you, that you can bring up in a second, you could actually hire police officers today.
Yeah, they're between £80 and £100 an hour per PC. So that's what they're selling their souls for, people, when they're going and snatching children from vulnerable mothers. They're being paid sort of, you know, up to nearly £1,000 a day for doing so. So this is how easy it is to, you know, get sellouts.
So this is business they're doing, and they gangsters, because this is like a mafia now. You've got people who are manufacturing documents, manufacturing concerns, manufacturing crimes, and when they go to get your babies to take them off you, they hire legal gangsters. Legal meaning they wear a uniform with the word police on it. Okay? This is what they're doing. And we need now people to wake up, because here's the circumstances of reality. Because I've gone through this, and this is where I'm at with it all. When the crimes take place on our children whilst in the social services care, and you've got to go through a complaint procedure, what happens when they get caught with their pants down? Well, two things happen. One is passing the buck along, and the other one's known as the blaming game. It's not us. It's the judges. It's not us. It's the police. It's not us. It's the school teachers. It's not us. It's blaming each other or the parents. This is a sickness of this nation. The law is broken in such a level that there's no law actually implemented in all our cases. This is how bad it is. And, you know, people need to wake up for this. It's just unbelievable. Psychologists, yeah, and corrupt psychologists. See, they hire their own, you see. They hire their own psychologist, which we could prove now, that just want to report on document whatever the social workers are telling them, because they make £12,000 a meeting. How much? £12,000 for a document. Where's all these children going? Now that's another hell of a episode, but I know we got vulnerable on here, so which is the reason why we don't talk about on here. I just want to make it clear. Otherwise, I'll tell you about that. But I don't want to trigger anybody who's losing their children. But you need to know these things are happening. Our police departments are helping and supporting, aiding and abetting with the largest child abuse scandal in the history of these nations. And they call themselves We Are the Law. I want to remind them and remind you, they are not the law. There's a law that you're supposed to follow and implement it in your career. They don't do that. But if we follow the law and implement it in our lives, that makes us the law. And which is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I'm telling the truth, I'm breaking silence. It's a matter of public interest. And I'm coming out with all of it. What are they going to do about it? This is how you need to follow the law. One of the things is that they are doing, they're trying to incite violence amongst the parents, amongst the communities, part of the distraction. Every time something goes wrong or they want to take a lot more children, they'll create a war. Asylum seekers, they're coming in. They see these are distractions. It's affecting the nation, but these are distractions. I hope people understand that. Alice, were you going to say something there, my sister?
Yeah, I was going to say the social worker phoned the police on me, got me arrested. I couldn't even see my child. And then the police have cancelled the bail and everything now. But it's still in court.
Yeah, but this is the issue, you see. They are going to try to use the police as a weapon. I think we were talking earlier on about what took place in Leeds, if you remember the Romanian family.
Yeah.
How it happened. See, they just want to use the police, and they abuse our children as well. You must understand, they talk about emotional abuse is a crime. Yet the first thing they do is create emotional abuse on that child.
Yeah.
How does that make it right? They allow physical abuse. They talk about physical abuse is bad, but they allow it to take place. How is that right? Who's taking responsibility? And remember, if there's nobody going to take responsibility, if there's no justice, there's no law. If there's no law, then who are these people telling us what to do? So let's maybe delve into that for 30 seconds or so. These people are part of cults. Okay, you've heard of the Freemasons, you've heard of Zionists, you've heard about these Illuminati bollocks. These are all part of the evil cults. And you've seen these signs that they do, you know what I mean, and the handshakes and all that. This is all part of their cult. And this is where I would normally do something, but I know my team members probably don't want me to do it. So I'm going to refrain myself today, because we got some signs ourselves we could give them from the public. So I want to just keep that straight. I just don't want to be rude tonight. I want to keep things right. Let me just get in, Debbie. This is another amazing person that I do know. I'm hoping actually I could get this young woman to start working with us. Amazing work she does in general. Hi, Debs. Debbie? Only when you're ready then. Right, yeah, unmuted, we could hear you, or she's disappeared. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, she'll be back when she's ready. But Alice, just please let us know where you are, and I'll see if I can get you some people where you are to help and support you, because being on your own, you're never going to get the right guidance, and the social services will never tell you the truth. It's just the way social services are. They don't guide you, they don't support you, and they usually will come up with some bollocks when they get involved in your home, and they say you need some legal help, and they'll give you a list of solicitors.
I have got my own solicitor.
Yeah, good, because the list of solicitors that they give, all of them work for the local authority. They'll throw you under the bus, which is a shamble and share engine in Salisbury. I don't know what that means, Carla White. We'll get to that. If anybody wanted to get into the box, but let me just go to MI83 young man, because I know this young man just had a bit of a episode himself over the last 4 days. MI.
Yeah, all right, mate. So basically, what I figured out, I've got autism and ADHD, and I follow patterns. So what you need to be aware of with social services, you need to look at what an open-ended question is. When they start asking repetitive questioning, right, meaning they repeat the question, if they're not trying to like make anyone sound like they're stupid, but I'm just trying to make everyone understand. If they repeat the question, they've already asked you a question and you've answered it clearly, and they ask you again, say, I've already told you, that's my answer. A repetitive question is asked so they can get the question right, so they can manipulate it in any different way.
Reform UK.
Yeah, sorry, go on, MI83. I've just muted them.
I would record every single incident that you have with these people. They ask repetitive questions because the answer you give, you haven't given open-ended question, meaning they can't manipulate the question what you've got. Right?
UK.
Yeah, sorry, MI, go ahead.
What's he say?
It doesn't matter. I think Neo dropped him.
Yeah, so basically, these people are trained. The English language can be manipulated and twisted around in so many different ways. They are trained sociopaths. They don't have feelings, these people. Don't expect them to understand your feelings. They don't care. They come and get they believe in their minds, and if a social worker's listening, I tell you this right now, the pain and suffering that you've caused families all around this country, we are coming for justice. And justice is going to be soon, thanks to people like Rangy and the team, making people aware. We are coming for justice. You are going to be held accountable. And I promise you this right now. You are going to regret what you've done to people. All these vulnerable girls, vulnerable families, people with mental health problems. You are being trained like a robot to justify your actions. You are trained to look for problems instead of solve problems. You are trained to trick them. The people you say you go to help, you're trained to trick them and look for problems. There's no integrity in what you're doing, people. There's no honour. A coward would snake somebody. And if someone's already vulnerable and you're taking advantage of them, you're taking advantage of children that are going to suffer and the vulnerable people. Thanks to Rangy and his team, you're all going to come unstuck. Thank you, Rangy.
No, thank you very much. I just want to add on a little bit of more to what he was saying. They're all going to have to pay for it. And this is now going to be attention for all those people who are religious. A lot of people have got it in their mind that God Almighty is going to deal with them in the next lifetime. Yes, you're right. But that's if they get past us in this lifetime. There's nowhere in any religious scripture it says you leave everything till the next lifetime. God Almighty in every religion says you deal with it in this lifetime. When you know these atrocities have taken place, you stand, you do something about it. Minimum you should do is raise your voice. Minimum. And if you don't do none of them, you're actually also going to be held accountable for the crises that are taking place today. So I'll give you a live example of what I mean, just so you understand. If you know somebody's been getting raped and you know who's been doing it and you stay silent, you're responsible for also that rape taking place. So the point is, you may think that you're going to wait till the next lifetime, but that's if you get past us in this lifetime. Every single one of us is going to be brought to the public. It's going to be in the eye of the public, and we want justice. And if we can't, we're not asking for justice. We're demanding for justice. We're not asking the parliament. We're demanding the parliament.
Thank
you see, like you say.
Can I just say one last thing? Yeah.
Go on.
Everybody, if you're being violated by a social worker, please, please, please record them, take their picture so we know who they are, so we can get them. Please, because the time is coming and it's near. That's all I want to say. Please record them if you are being treated unfair, because we want to get these people and we want to hold them all responsible. That's all I want to say, please.
You know what? I just want to add on to that. When it comes to safeguard, one of the biggest things over the last few years I've told everybody's got this thing called a phone or a little device. Any meeting you have, you don't need their permission. You don't need to tell them. You get it, you press the button, record. Why are you doing it? To safeguard and protect yourself. Is it legal and above board with what I've just said to you? Yes, it is. So when the social worker says to you, you can't record us, she's lying. Okay, don't fall for that nonsense of any of them. Get your device and record it. Since I've been advising people, over 80% of all the people who've took that advice have caught the social workers minimum committing perjury. Minimum committing perjury. Okay, and now the noose is going to be tightened around their necks. Because at the end of the day, we want our children back. And if they're harmed, somebody's going to jail. Minimum. Okay, we need to probably bring back some certain laws back in to make sure these sickos don't take children and then abuse them and then think that they can get away with it because they got a title. And that's all, the majority of that has all got to do with the corporate companies. I am definitely going to be putting that one in. So this is not, it is a problem in the public, but majority of it is actually a problem within the authorities, which they don't want you to know. Let me just get this sister back on because I think she must have dropped. This is my blue-eyed sister. I'm calling her blue-eyed because there's an eye there. It's blue and there's no name on it. Sister, you back on? Blue-eyed sister, you back on?
Hello. Hi.
I'm really sorry I keep calling you blue-eye. I hope you don't mind. I did say that earlier on.
That's all right. I changed my thing because I was getting paranoid because I just kept sharing a lot on TikTok and then thinking... probably shouldn't share it, but literally, yeah, they've pretty much ruined my life. Like I've got to the point now where I can't actually even be inside a house anymore. Like when they did it to me, I was sleeping on the street in the snow because I didn't know what else to do. That's the way I am now, and it's like The problem is with like protesting and stuff like that is like I feel like bloody saving up enough money and buying a field and saying anybody that's been through it come and live with it's almost like we need to create an army that goes from place to place, staying together at all times. There needs to be a complete and utter revolution before anyone's going to actually listen to it.
I'm going to add on to that because earlier on I was on a live and we were talking about this. So when we were talking about doing a protest, and I mentioned earlier on that we could raise 5, 10, 15,000 people in every town and city. That protest, what we're looking to do is not just for one afternoon or one evening.
Yeah.
That would be staying there until they don't sort their shit out and deal with it.
That's what I want to do.
If it takes a week, takes a month, if the whole nation goes on a standstill, I don't care. Why? Because what's more important? Stopping people who are stealing our children, raping our children, mistreating our children, trafficking our children. That is more important than the authorities. And remember, they're not even our authorities. They're private corporate companies doing business. So they're not even our government. We've got no reason to bow down in front of them. They are paid to do a job, to serve us. They are beneath us, not we beneath them. We are in a situation where these authorities are there, put in a position of power to do what we want them to do. And now the whole system has changed where they're in a position of power, dictating to us. Dictating is the right word. Dictating to us what they want to do. And one of the things that they're doing is they're stealing children.
They're using.
How are we going to go along with that nonsense?
It's crazy how they can use things like, mental health, learning. These are all against human rights. It's discrimination, and they're all lies. Like they tried to say that with me, and it's like I've never had any doctor, anyone say them things about me. The only person that's ever said it has been a paid psychologist that they pay. And you can't even argue against their decision because the judge won't listen to any other decision.
Now so let me show you how we need to reverse. Remember, they use reverse psychology. We need to do the same. When they're talking about you need a mental health assessment, the reality is they need a mental health assessment. So I'll give you one now part of the law. When they turned around, which is what Tony Blair brought in, he turned around and said that you could take the children on future risk of emotional harm, meaning on fictional world. You can just think about it, pretend about it, and make it up, and then you take the children. That's what it really means, okay? Future risk of emotional harm. Well, what I'm bringing to the table right now is I'm bringing you fact findings that all children going into care, 80% of them come out damaged. So I'm urging all members of the public to cease contact with this corporate company on fact findings, not crap findings. Which has more power, more weight? You know which one it does. So why is people still allowed to talk to these people? When they come to your home, tell them shoo. And this is what you should do. Shoo, get away. They are nobody special. They've just got a title. They could come with the police. Then you don't need to still cooperate with any of them. Because when they turn around and say, we've had an anonymous call. Most of the time, they don't have no anonymous calls neither. No anonymous calls. They just make the shit up for a living because they've got a target community, which is what I noticed in Middlesbrough, certain areas, which is low-class family homes, poor homes. They're deliberately in that area. They've been targeting families again and again and again and again, stressing them out. This is not acceptable.
I was watching them capture predators, and there's one of them that's actually been done for SA on kids, and he had his 10-year-old living with him. And he's been done for it, and they don't do anything to these kind of people. It's the people that are so desperate to have their children. They're so hurt. They've got so much, love for their kids that they don't know what to do. Like when they did it to me, I was following this carrot of desperately trying to, and that's how they silence people as well, because it's the most they take the most precious thing from you, and if someone's doing that, you're not going to speak out on the abuse, because that's not your goal. Your goal is to try your damnedest to try and get your kid. Like that's what you. And the thing is as well, they'll use the more you love your kid against you. Like the worse it gets. Like if they can feel the love, they'll put actually the kid that they've taken through more emotional abuse that, you can't even do that, and it's crazy. I've seen so many girls that, like, because I went through it as well, and I saw so many women, so many girls that literally they're taking newborns from hospitals, and it's like, where in what world is that the right thing to do ever? Normal people with nice homes, with nice this, nice that, they've set up the nursery. These kids are getting taken and stolen from these kind of people, and it's just, unless a child is being physically or SA abused, in my mind, there's nothing that should be, I think there should be a law put in place where the child is allowed to, they don't even follow these days. They don't even follow child in need, child protection. They don't even do that. Like when they did it to me, I swear to Lord above, I didn't even have a proper social worker. I never got a child in need meeting. I think I had one child protection where they were all after me, completely. And very soon after that, it was removal. They don't have to follow these guidelines or anything.
No, they don't. They don't follow anything. I was just going to say, the point that it's about to go out my mind. Let me just make sure I get it back in. About children, when they turn around, there will be people now that will be also saying, well, we need social services. Look at the issues and problems on these other children who have gone through this. And they'll give me an example. They'll say, what about BBP? Well, look, these people, man, you need to stop watching Hollywood and Bollywood, man. Wake the freak up.
Well, they can do it to save him, yeah.
Yeah, but let me now bring the reality now to him. Yeah, they're talking about BBP. Who failed BBP? Social services. Okay, let's look at the latest one that was in the news. Sarah Sharif. Who failed her? Social services. And in between them, you do know there's well over 450 children that they failed that are unalive now today. And you're talking about safeguarding children, child protection. We know that there's certain people that are inadequate or unfit for purpose in general, but that's for issues and problems, okay, that happen. Either way, there is something that we need to resolve these issues and problems that are going on. But that does not mean that you have a 2% of issues, but you now create 98% extra demand for business. So 98% of the population now is suffering over what? 2% that should have been looked at, that dealt with, because they don't know how to do an investigation. They don't know how to do assessments, and they've just got used to manufacturing documents, manufactured concerns, manufactured crimes, hiring the psychologist to make up a report. This is fraud. Now look, if these people are saying that there's got to be something, social workers are right, well, let me make it clear on here live. Victims of child sexual abuse take place. These cover it up. All these perpetrators is in the public. So if they're telling the truth, that means the judges are all liars, criminal storytellers. You see, you play them at their own game. So if they're going to say social workers are really, really good, dearie me, well, that means Middlesbrough family courts have been covering up rapes, allowing manufactured documents, manufactured concerns, manufactured crimes. And now we could take it away from their camp. We could bring it into every single town and city throughout the country. Who you want to blame? Let's blame the judges. Then the judges are going to jail. We don't care who wants to take the rap. All we know is somebody better start taking responsibility.
I wasn't even allowed to speak in court. Like, imagine going to court for things. And I remember I arrived at the court, and honestly, I promise you, they'd been involved for genuinely about a week. The social worker that I ended up having had never been to my property. They'd never been in my home. It was a different department. I had them come in, I think I had about 3 different visits before they took my baby away from me. And honestly, it's just crazy. I remember going to the court and saying, and there was all this different stuff. And I remember saying to the solicitor at the time, I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that one. And they said, no, you have to agree with all. You can't go in the court and not agree with it all. You have to agree with it all. Otherwise, you'll look like you're not taking responsibility. It's just, honestly, I'm at the point where it's like I'm just desperate for everybody else to start taking it 100% seriously and stuff, because like it's just I feel like going to buy myself a microphone, sitting on the street and talking about it, because it's just crazy. But
you know what, sister? I'm going to do one better for you. When there's people who want to take this seriously and passionately, I've got access to radio stations. I've got access to this website. I've got access to podcast stations. We got our own radio station. Just come and join us. Let's go and do what needs to be done. Because look how many children are suffering. How many are we going to allow?
It's child trafficking what they're doing.
It's child trafficking.
They're taking pictures of these kids and they're putting them on Facebook and saying who wants to be a foster carer, and you get all different types of strange looking people commenting. I'm interested, but I've got this problem. Oh, don't worry. You can still apply. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sick of myself. They've ruined my life completely. There's nothing else I can possibly. I don't connect with anyone. I don't know how to feel about anything. You know what they did to my son? They were having him travel in a taxi on his own, 40-minute journeys twice a day on his own in the taxi. If I was doing that, do you know what I mean? It's just disgusting. I had one person from the contact centre. I had one woman, and she used to basically come in to do the contact, and she would literally demand on basically taking my son, but going in the toilet with him, whilst he's having a wee. And I remember she did it about 3 times, and it got to the point where it was like, what is going? Why would you want to keep doing that? And I remember just wanting desperately to say something, but I was at the cusp of getting him home, and I knew if I said anything, it would damage my chances, so I couldn't say anything. And then there was another time where he was going to come and see me, and they got a random God knows who person to come and travel him, and it was this random bloke that gave me the most weirdest vibes, and I couldn't say anything again. And I remember saying to the man, please can you message me as soon as he's back, because I felt so uncomfortable with it. And the weird vibe I got off this man, and he never messaged me back or anything after he dropped my son off. And it was just,
No, you're 100% right, sister, 100% right. Cornish Whisper, you're unmuted, by the way, if you didn't know.
Oh, hello.
Hi, how you doing today?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, lovely.
Hiya.
Okay, cool. Hi, Neo.
Good to see you.
Thank you for Wednesday. But the unfortunate part about that, I have been heavily under attack. Not water just being pumped under my home now, but it's actually excrement. So they're really gunning for me. So I went to the police yesterday after picking up my son's ashes from the funeral directors, and I went directly to the police station. My daughter didn't know that that's where I wanted to go, because I didn't want her to know. So I went to the police station, and again, the way that you're treated is absolutely disgusting. He said, yeah, I've seen you before. And, oh, yeah, is it a mental health issue, do you believe? And I said, no. I said, I'm tired. I'm not unwell. And I said, I just want to record it. I want your number. I said, no, you're not going to do anything, because they all know what's going on and they all know what's happening to me. And by tenants placed either side of me to abuse me to the point they want me to leave. Well, I've got nowhere to go. This is my home. I've been here 6 years and I'm not going anywhere. Anyway, it has been so bad today. My poor dog, because a dog's sense can smell scents is like 200 times more than ours. I can't actually smell it a bit, but Anyway, so I rang 999 this afternoon, and again, he said, you need to ring 101. He said, this is a number for emergency. I said, yeah, it is an emergency, actually. I said, I'm being assaulted with excrement by my neighbours, and I needed to report it. And that's it. So just saying thank you for Wednesday, and I'm glad I'm speaking out now, although I've got no privacy, nothing. My Wi-Fi, my landline, even this phone. I mean, they are taking my people that I follow, and I do not get to see any of them, and I'm sure that they're swapping them over too. So to a dummy account. So I think that they're trolls and I end up possibly be deleting them. But I'm not a techie. I haven't got a bloody clue. But that's what's happening to me. So I'm glad I'm able to say it on a live. So I'm not, don't feel alone. So that's how bad it can get when you, over 3 years ago, wanted to go and report a disclosure from my granddaughter. So.
Cornish, look, what we're going to do is, firstly, I want you to remember you're not alone. The worst thing is,
I know.
Just keep in touch. Let's start moving forward and start getting more and more.
I will. I've got no email address either, because in the beginning when I first found out, I was wild, ringing everybody, MP, emailing the newspapers, emailing GB News, Daily Mail, blah blah blah. And I came home, like I think I said it the other night, and it shut my iPad down and said it had been reported missing, but it's been on my kitchen table for 14 years. But I never reopened a new email and everything, because I don't know how they get attached to everything. So I just switched it off, because whoever's shut me down will still be on. It's just there'd be the IP address would be the last address who closed me down. So I've not had an email address even.
Look, you know how to contact us, don't you?
Well, I do, but I haven't got my own email address or anything. And the only time until I started doing my TikToks, the only time I could get messages out to anybody was, e.g. yourself, was on a live. When I'll
tell you what we'll do then, because I'm sure I've already dropped you a follow from before. And make sure, yes, I have.
It doesn't come up as soon as I am so heavily monitored. It's insane. Honestly, insane.
Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try another way. Neo, if you could drop a follow to Neo.
I follow Neo. But I don't see Neo anymore. Either.
No, he's going to drop you the follow. We'll try like this, because I don't know what they're doing.
I'm already following, to be honest.
Pardon?
Right.
I'm already following you, I'm sure.
Yes, that's exactly, and I'm following you.
Yeah.
Right,
but
so
I haven't seen Neo or anyone for ages.
Okay, well, let's see if he could drop you a message, see if you get it.
Okay.
We'll do it separately, and then maybe if there's a contact number, we'll get some communication sorted, and we'll help you with an email. That's for sure. They're not
amazing.
They're just trying to isolate you. That's what they're doing.
Well, I have been isolated for it's over 3 years now. I'm in my 4th year. So, not to worry. That's all I wanted to say, just so I got it out there, and it's out there what's happened. And
stay strong, sister. Stay strong. Stay with the course.
Oh, I'm fine. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the path I've chosen. I'm not backing down. This is how low they can go.
Good girl.
So, I'm 62, and to bully an old woman to such disgusting extent says it all, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Let me just put one shout in, Carmel. If you're wondering, I dropped you because the list was growing.
You can drop me now. Thank you, everybody.
No problem, Cornish. Speak to you soon, my sister. Okay. Can I get actually before I go to QT, Alice? Is there anything you wanted to add before I get somebody else in? Alice?
I just wanted to say I see my child 3 times a week, and they've also put me on to parenting classes.
Right. Contact us, and what we'll do is we'll see if I get somebody local to where you are to give you the right help and support where you are, and let's see if we can get something done. It might be even solicitors. I know I've only found one solicitor's firm with 7 bases that I've seen them doing the right thing, shall I say. I've actually seen cases where they've actually took the fight on. There are cases that they have won as well. But I've also seen them provide all the evidence, and the mother yucker judge still went along with the nonsense. But do that, Alice, yeah? And
yeah, I will do.
So I'm just going to drop you, but for that note, for everybody else, I hope people understand. If there's any help and support that you could give for any members of the public in our communities, doesn't matter where you are, what town or what city, what district you're in, it doesn't matter. All these crimes are taking place on a daily basis. QT, I'm sure that's my brother. QT,
What's going on?
I'm all right, my brother. How are you today?
You put the face on, yeah. You got the So wait, the picture that you've got up, who is he? Is he a different man, or is that the younger days?
Oh, the picture. Oh, right. The picture. Yeah, that is. I haven't had time to change it, but that's the younger days.
What's going on, though, my brother? How you doing?
Or shall I say, I've actually been to the hairdressers and I got some highlights put in.
MashaAllah, man. You're looking good, bro. Don't worry, man. MashaAllah. What's going on, though, man?
Usual, waking the public up, trying to get people to come together. We've had some horrifying stories. People have come forward. Good thing is, on public media, I usually stop them from saying too much because they'll only be used against them as a weapon tomorrow. There's victims who are led to suicide. We need that, have that stopped. We got rapists actually out in the public that they don't mind because this is what they like. And over the last 2 weeks, actually,
I was just just before you carry on. I was on a live just like earlier today, and they were talking about. I didn't even see it. I just like I saw it today. They were talking about a lady that was unalived by her husband in January. I don't know if you heard about it. And then he got life, and then we were just talking about the whole abuse and stuff, and like SA and this and that, and and then obviously it led to. With the G gangs and the whole situation. Before I met you and I started coming on your lives, I didn't know how deep and dark it is, but it is dark. It is dark, and it starts from the top. And any person that tries to challenge it, they will be penalized because the elite are the ones that are the culprit. These are the people that are doing this. You know what I mean? And they're the ones that obviously make it acceptable. That's why when you see people that go in prison for like, being a P or whatever, they come out quick. They come out real quick. Like, they come out quicker than people that have done worse crimes than them. So there's an agenda behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, one of the things is they can run, but they cannot hide. They have us running and we got nowhere to hide or run, but we're doing the same thing. So I'll give you an example how far or what we're doing now.
All right.
I'll actually gonna go through a little bit of a list. So it comes to exposing, you expose these people, you don't hold back. There's nothing, when you've got the evidence and the information, you speak up. So I'm gonna give you some Labour. We're still on a list of Labours here at the moment. Yeah, we've got Tories, we've got Conservative, we've got the Green Party. So we've got a Brian Gates here, Labour councillor, and a school governor for child welfare, caught downloading child pornography.
Fun.
We got Graham Pearson, Labour Mayor, Labour Lord Mayor, school teacher and nursery school governor caught with child porn images.
Wow.
So then we've got Richard Harris, Labour councillor candidate and school governor, arrested for offering children money for sex. Then we have Ben Williams, Labour councillor and school teacher, arrested over child porn internet searches. Then we have Paul Diggert, Labour Party councillor candidate and school governor, caught downloading child pornography. Now you see, I could keep going like this, but sooner or later it's going to knock you six.
I don't think a lot of people know about this. I don't think like a lot of people know about these people that are doing it. That is so mad.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, you see. We're bringing all of it out. If anybody's requesting, just give me a moment. So we've got Cyril Smith, was a Labour councillor and a teacher of Cambridge House Boys Home in Rochdale. Before he joined Liberal, he was a Labour councillor, deprived sexual acts upon little boys. This is the description of what we're dealing with. Look at that. I've got a restriction. I knew this restriction is going to come up
You got
when we're talking about the pedos.
You know what you do?
Well,
Do you know what you do? Jump off and then jump back on.
No, we keep it. And this is the least of their concerns. We're about to release this on public media for everybody to see. Not just the names, the photographs as well, the pictures with the smiles on. Okay, so everybody needs to know who these are. All the pedophiles that they've allowed to come out of jail after doing 6 months or a little bit of suspended sentence, while the children who they raped are doing a life sentence, your pictures are going to be out in broad daylight. Every day that we're going to make sure we flood the market. The whole thing is going to come out. And we're starting from the top. Your MPs, your councillors, your mayors, you dirty, dirty people. But how are you going to stop us? You've got no power to stop us. The only thing they can do is incite violence, which they have been doing with me for the last 12 months. The amount of threats I've had, intimidations I've had, threats that they're going to shoot me. And the police have looked the other way as well, QT, just to let you know.
Who said that again?
These people have also arranged to get me shot, and the police said it's freedom of speech.
Wow.
And you wouldn't believe this, but I have all this on recording. Actually, Neo, if you want to, because you've seen, heard of everything.
60 odd recordings. The UK police should be literally ashamed of themselves. There's no other word for it. You're absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, we're going to bring all that out.
Position like teachers that have. Oh my gosh, it's mad.
Oh, school teachers, they're all coming out. But I'm going to give you a few more because they pissed me off there for giving me a restriction. Timothy Edmeades, Labour Party organizer, Lord Mayor Assistant, school teacher, helper, scout leader, child rapist he is. John Ferry, must be a ferry. John Ferry, Labour councillor and school governor, guilty of grooming a child for sex.
Wait. Quickly, before you carry on. Have they been charged whilst they're in this position, or was it prior to them getting into whatever position they're in as a teacher?
No, these are people that you're not getting told about that have been convicted, but the list isn't out. But this is while they were in these positions. And if you listen to it, most of them, they've got input in the schools. How dangerous is that for our children?
Well, have a look at Tony Blair. Tony Blair covered it up. Tony Blair didn't care about some of his party members that had done it. He was happy for them to still be in his party despite being convicted of that kind of stuff. And he's still in a position of power now. You know, Prince Andrew, do you know what I mean? There was a massive PDF ring, that got exposed. And basically it said underneath the news article, respected Scouts leader had even met Tony Blair and the Queen. I'm like, I bet he had. Do you know what I mean?
This is the problem. Everybody thinks these things are separate, and they're not linked. Everything's linked. Okay, it's a massive scandal.
They know that these people are convicted, but it's still yet. Oh man.
I've been through all of it, front, back and sideways, I have, and I've seen literally so much of it, and I've done my thing on it. I've tried and questioned myself, why is the system like this? Whose fault is it? Have we really got all these evil people, these social workers? But really what we've got to understand is, yes, they are evil because they're turning a blind eye, but you've got to go up a little bit, up the system, the way that it's running, the policies that's been created by pretty much Tony Blair changed it all 2008, and basically what's ended up happening is it's fallen down to this long massive line of corruption that goes on now. He created the system to attack low-income families, to basically make it a way where the court system is only going to allow you to be able to win if you can spend the thousands and thousands of pounds of money that low-income people don't have. And basically you have to see your children in the contact centre. That costs a lot of money. You know, if I go to a contact centre, I spend all I've got. I'd rather sit on the street then after that. You know, because what else is there? There's nothing else if you're not, you know.
No, you're 100% right, sister. But look, I just want to add on for those who are listening. This list of names that we're giving you and the description, we're making this available for you. But this is the ones that are being convicted. But the part that we are doing now, you know, the ones where the system has been covering up. Okay, that they've been allowing the abuse. We have the evidence. We've also provided you that, like I think it was Wednesday, was it? We released 100 and I think it was 2 or 5 names which involved school teachers. No, sorry, not school teachers. I haven't got to school teachers yet, even though I started exposing them. Councillors, MPs, mayors, chief executives, Ofsted, your local mayor, the chief commissioners of police, everybody's name's coming out now. Because I want to know, where does it say that you've got to go through the court and then it's right?
Exactly.
The whole court system is bullshit. They manufacture documents,
there should be no such thing as a court system that members of the public can't be a witness to. It's not that the children can't be protected. You could still make it so that their identities aren't known. But there should be a jury in every single case, you know, of 20 different parents that, you know, that they can sit there and watch what's going on, because a lot of the stuff that's going on is mind blowing. You could not believe what goes on. You know, I was in the baby unit, and you know the way that these women were treated, especially if they haven't got a brain. You know, not saying they haven't got a brain, but especially if they you know, they're not confident themselves or they look a certain way or something. You know, it's and they will, and basically what the social do is that once they've taken one, they'll just take another, and it's, you know, I've seen people traumatized, and I just hate it. Like, really, people that are convicted of PDF and it's proven, in my opinion, need to be euthanized. Personally, I don't understand. There's no room in it for society. They're not even going to prison anymore. They're getting suspended sentences for looking at beastly stuff on the internet.
Absolutely. Just one, there was a question there. Have you covered closed door? Closed door cases yet? If you're not about family courts, the secret family courts, well, yeah, that's what we're bringing out. So let me give you a live example now. Everything that took place that we're talking about on here, I've exposed that court case to the public. Then on top of that, I'm also providing you the evidence of what they're covering up. So you'll find things like audio or recordings or evidence related to social services where crimes are taking place on children whilst they're in social workers' care, but they're framing the parent who lives 25 miles away, the framing is taking place in their home. So they do the crime, they frame the parents, and our babies are paying the price during the time. Same as their court orders. They get the judges to make court orders, then social workers go break that court orders, and then what they do is they frame the parents for it. This is the biggest BS. Oh, sorry, I'm not on anybody's life, it's my own, isn't it? It's the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Okay, no, so there's that court case. Now, right now, a case where victims of child sexual abuse broke silence, these covered it up. These are Roman free, but what they're trying to do, they're trying to go for a gagging order. Here's the court case number. But now I'm making it public, and that's why I'm letting everybody see. Now you'll be able to witness how deep this rabbit hole goes, and you'll also find out which is the judge that's covering it up. And why they're covering it up. It's the biggest shit show ever in the country. But I'm not going to blame everybody. That's the judge's issue and problem. It's the judges that have actually went along with this. Whether they're sleeping with each other or what they're doing, I really don't give a shit. I don't need to make accusations. All I know is they're liars, criminals, storytellers. And if social workers are telling the truth, that means the judges are all criminals and the police are all criminals. And if I'm telling the truth, they're all liars, criminal storytellers, and judges are controlled and the police are controlled by lies and stories that they give. It's easy. It's not rocket science, but we're handing that evidence over. So QT, you just come off there. See if you can get back on, because one of the things I want you to know as well, we have started to start going into private Zooms, simply because on public media here, we have a lot of people who are part of paedophile rings, grooming gangs, or social workers, child traffickers, yeah? And they don't like what we're doing. So what they'll do is they'll try to cause issues and problems in order to silence us. This is what they're doing. And they'll put complaints in. It's just in our private Zooms, they can't do none of that. And more importantly, you, the public, are going to get all the evidence what you need. Because in this particular war, evidence is power. And with that power, I'll show you how you could send them on the sick. Because everybody who I see gets sacked, removed, and goes on the sick.
The problem is, though, they make it hard to get evidence because they lie in reports. And if the general public that haven't been through it, they'll read it and they'll believe that. You know what I mean? So it's again, it's very hard also to get evidence.
Yeah, but let me explain to you now. With me working with a lot of people, and I try to advise them the best. So the best thing is, this is the kind of teaching we do on our private Zoom. So I'll do it right now, just so everybody understands. So when you get a case or you learn from somebody that's going through these issues and problems, there's always multiple challenges in there. School teachers will be involved, the police will be involved, CAFCAS will be involved, Tom, Dick, and Harry will be on. It's simple. What you need to do is, because how they build stories is they lie about the police, lie about this, lie about the school teachers, and they put it in the reports. Then you've got to defend yourself on the bullshit that they're providing. And in that timeline, they mistreat you, abuse you, and destroy your home. So my advice is you start doing your side request. Firstly, protect yourself. I'll do that again. Everybody's got one of these damn things. Okay? All you got to do, press the button record every time you meet these people. It doesn't matter where it is. And it's all legal and above board what I'm saying. You record it. You don't tell them. You don't need to ask their permission. It's purely legal and above board what we're telling you about. And you'll find within 30 to 60 days, you'll get evidence of them committing perjury, manufacturing documents, manufacturing concerns, manufacturing crimes, because these are thick as pig shit. And they've got an agenda, remember. They think they're protected by Satan. They think Satan's going to protect them. No, Satan is going to protect them in this lifetime. They could try because there's a gang of them. But if you know how to defend yourself, that gives you the power. And within that power, what you'll find is they'll make allegations in that report that they might say something like, you're in domestic violence and you've been in the police's eye, and you've been convicted. When you get the side request from the police, there's no record of it because you know it's never happened. Then you fight back. Now, how you need to fight back is not just tell the judges, do private prosecutions and everybody. And here's the biggest issue we're having. When you go to court, when you provided all the information that they are liars, criminals, storytellers, I'm now holding the judges responsible. Why are you still stealing our kids, you morons? You sick psychopaths. You see, once you've proven that they're liars, criminals, storytellers, there was no
the problem is, though, that they will go for your soul, you know, and there's people out there that have been through so much with them. There's only so much some people can take. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much you can go for like that. Like, do you know what I mean? And you know, they're basically force adopting children. They're putting them with strangers, God knows where. You know, with gay couples or whoever else. I saw one not long back at the park, believe it or not, and it was two big. I'm not a homophobe, but two big hairy men, and this tiny, dazed, unhappy looking, about 1-year-old, and they were running around the park, and you should have seen how hard this big hairy man kicked the football at this 1-year-old. And I remember just watching it and thinking, what the hell am I seeing? What is going on?
Well, yeah, you're 100% right. So let me tell you, because I'm opening the doors in every side. So there are cases, live cases right now. I'll give you one now from an area called Bradford. In the area of Bradford, there was a particular family where they went in, made this concerns up, and took 5 children. The eldest one was a girl, a daughter. The youngest one was a son, and there's 3 in the middle. Since they've taken these children, they've split them and put them in different foster cares and in obviously, these young people's homes. Okay. The eldest one has been sexually assaulted twice, and the police said, well, we never seen it. You friggin' morons. How are you going to see it when it gets done behind the doors? So twice. Nobody's done nothing about it. The 9-year-old boy in the middle has had his arm broken in 2 places while in the care of the foster carers. They said it was an accident. The 4-year-old boy has had his thumb broken, snapped. They said it was an accident. So hang on. They could go through abuse, sexual assault, physical abuse in such a level in the care system, and it's an accident, but we don't have to commit anything. And let's say a child falls over and that's abuse, and then you'll get locked up and jailed. What are they talking about?
That's what you have to be speaking about, because that makes you want to leave the house now. Like, do you know what I mean? It makes me that angry to know. I saw another case not long back where there was an adoptive man, and he was on, do you know when you can go on like the forums like Reddit and things like that? He wasn't actually on that. He was on like a more legit website. That means they've only just posted. Because I'm so weird. I look at all this stuff. I got obsessed with it at one point. And this man, he just adopted a 2-year-old, I think, and his wife was heavily disabled, and he was looking for he was on like a weird site basically for like people that sell sex, and he was looking for a transgender prostitute, and he was saying how he just adopted this child. Apparently the disabled wife goes out all the time with her friends or whatever, she's hardly ever there, and he's left to basically change this kid's nappy and everything and put him to bed at night and everything, and he was out looking for this. These are the kind of people that have got these young vulnerable kids, and there's nobody there to protect these kids, and this is the kind of thing that's going on. This is where these babies are ending up. You know what I mean? There's so many of them.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. It actually gets a lot deeper than that as well. I mean, somebody mentioned there about they speaking to our children behind our backs on their own. What they are actually doing, they are goading our children. They're putting words in our children. This is called coercive control, and part of alienation is what they're doing. Can we prove this? Yes, we can. And this is why I'm telling people, come forward. You want evidence, I'll give you the evidence. You independently go and look at it. And let's start standing up and doing what we need to be doing. Just 1 second. I know I've got Wayne that's in there. Wayne, sorry about that. I do apologize. If you just mute yourself, please, Wayne.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Hi, Wayne. Thank you for joining us.
Because I've got a little man in the back yelling.
Did you have a question or a comment you might wanted to add or say?
Well, I think you answered part of the comment on obviously it was your live, but I was just going to be careful because as much as I love your message, if you use the word like rape and PD and all that, you will get the live taken down because, like I said, lesser lives that have only just said it once have been taken down. So just, because then you can't spread no word because your account gets blocked unless you've got 10,000 accounts, because TikTok is part of the whole TikTok analogy.
Yeah, no, I understand. The good thing is at the moment, just on that note, God Almighty is looking over what we're doing, and very shortly we're actually already transitioning everything into private meetings, and we are about to go live on this podcast on LCS News, which they can't stop because we run the show. They don't tell us what to do. So, but in the meantime, I appreciate what you said. But anything you wanted to ask, please, or suggest?
It's mainly, I think we need to rip up the law book every time the topic comes up. I just don't think we serve justice to people. I know that obviously the definition is we force them through the courts. The judge actually finds them guilty, and then obviously they call that a success. But I'm sorry, 3 years is like the maximum most of these monsters get, and they should be serving life, or better yet, they should be unalived, but we can't really vote for that. But at least we should be seeing longer sentences.
We should be voting for it, though. That's the thing, we should be.
This is the situation, because as much as I love the fact that there are so many people trying to get these monsters locked away, the fact that you've got this, and then you do the math, and then they do the good behaviour. And I'm sorry, that should not be a thing in prisons whatsoever.
They're allowing it. It's as simple as that.
One second, sorry, sister. I don't want to.
No, it's all right.
No, sorry. The reason why this is happening, Okay, now it's obvious, now it's out. And we're going to be bringing thousands of people forward yet, thousands of names. It's because most of these people are in our parliament. Most of these people are your local councillors, MPs, mayors. Most of these people are within inside the police departments. Most of these are social workers. Most of these are in these corporate companies.
Oh yeah, because obviously it's the same with social workers. I'm sorry to say that they should be held responsible for the amount of attacks and things like that. But then, like the other lady mentioned about the police officer and that lot, there should be a charge. I'm sorry, but you get plenty of different crimes where you commit it, and if you know the involvement of it, you get an extra charge for yourself for being involved with it. So why is there not this? If they can prove without a doubt custody of a child that has been abused has been in your custody, whether it's a case that you picked them up, dropped them off, you should be just as involved as the things that's happened to the child, I'm sorry to say. But yeah, I think we're coming at it as normal people should come at it, but we're doing it the wrong way, that we should relist the rules, get them the 25-year prison sentence, and then get them arrested. Because otherwise it's going to be a case that we're going to get these people convicted, they're going to serve their 3 years, they're going to be back to do it all over again, or worse yet, they'll be like, they've already been convicted, we can't do them on the new charges.
I agree, but just give me 1 second, everybody. I know Blue Eye Sister here has only got 1% of battery before she dies. Have you got a charger there?
I have. It's plugged in right now though, so I don't. I think it's because I've been on it for quite a long time. I might need to be off it for 2 minutes and then get back on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do that, because I want you to get back on because I want everybody's thoughts and ideas.
Let you know when the phone gets to temperature, stick it into the fridge, but not the fridge, the freezer for around about 5 minutes. It cools the temperature of the phone.
It's a good phone. I don't really know why it's doing. It's being a bit funny, but I might be all right. It might let me stay on.
It might be because you're on this live.
But yeah, that's what we got to think about. It's not even for us; it's for the children. They're out there with no one to speak for them, because it's a heartbreaking, awful thing. And the problem is, people are still thinking that you can trust them, and you can't. Like, I see so many videos on TikTok and stuff. It's just sad. It's sad what's going on with these poor kids.
No, absolutely. So, on that note, I'm going to reiterate everything again. If there's anybody that could help and support. Now, look, Wayne, you mentioned some perfect bullet points. We need people that have got a little bit of time, a little bit of experience to come forward. The more there is of us, because there's so many victims falling, so many victims that are coming out the care system that are also speaking up about their experiences of raping and abusing and what they've gone through. And we need collectively now to come together. It doesn't matter what town you are, what city you are, whether you're in Ireland, whether you're in Wales, in Scotland, in the UK, it doesn't matter. But we need everybody to put that 1% of effort in. That's all I'm going to say. And even if you've got your own organizations, we're happy with that, because we want to work with anybody that wants to fight for this specific cause. That's it. So I just want to put that out again, because, I can't stop saying that, because I know how much overwhelmed we are on this side. Actually, Brian Business, I'll get him to just chip in for a second. Brain Business, it might be good to get it from another person as well. Just saying about the amount of help and support it is actually needed.
Yes, definitely. A lot of help is needed for this, but you know what? The good thing about that is there are a lot of us. The more people that we can rally together behind this, I mean, whether you can help or not, so long as you can, even help with sharing posts, talking about it, go out to your neighbors. Like I always say this every time I get on the live, is to it's important to, we're building a community here, but unfortunately it's mostly a community of broken people trying to fix broken people. Okay, we've all gone through the system and we've all been kind of devastated by it. And but
when it comes to this, so you'll only be broken for so long. Like, I felt like that not long back, but I've just got to the point now where it's like, because what's funny as well is we all speak, if you've been through it, you all speak about it the same way. Like Rangy said earlier about them being evil, about them being, Satan's protecting them. I feel like that. We all seen exactly the same thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy to hear other people say the exact feelings, the exact words come out of their mouth that I've had myself.
But
Do you know what I mean?
I'll just say though, it's important, guys, for you to get to know your neighbours. Okay, so build your own communities where you live. Get to know your neighbour. Get to know
People are scared though. Nobody wants to speak out. Nobody wants their kids targeted.
It's not about. You know what? It starts with hello. That's it. You know, just be genuine. You know, we've got summer coming up. You know, like invite your neighbours to a fucking barbecue or something. You know,
I just don't think it's going to make any difference. I think because I used to be like this when I dealt with the social. I look down. I look down on other people.
Not help a community build on itself, though. That's
Yeah.
the thing, you know. Unfortunately,
I'm ready
It's
to
not
literally
easy.
get like a sign, mate, and a bloody and a tent, mate. That's what I'm ready to do every day because I honestly I can't. I think it's so disgusting what goes on. You know, and most people, if they do know about it, they're either too scared to speak about it or, you know, what happened to me, basically, I come through the other side of it, and honestly, I just didn't want anything to do with it. I wanted to run so far in the opposite direction. I never wanted to speak on it ever again. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, that's how I ended up, and I sort of tried to put myself at a higher standard than other people that have been through it and not come out, you know, well of it, because in my mind, if I separate myself from them, I'm not going to end up like them myself. It's always been my biggest fear, but you know, some of the things that I've seen, it's just disgusting. Some of the ways, some of the babies being taken from hospitals from feeding mums. But where in the hell is that right? And the hospitals are in on it that when that happens, you know, that you're not allowed to leave.
Well,
Do you know what I
the
mean?
social services rent space, and in the basements of the hospitals, they have offices, and they rent that space. So it's just like how they do in America. It's exactly the same here, and in almost
But
every other
don't you think
country
it's
in the
funny how
world.
every single mental health disorder it is, it's always borderline personality disorder, emotionally unstable personality. What? I'd never even heard of that before they tried to say I had that. Never.
Because
And do you know
a
what
lot of
else they
people,
tried to say?
it's
For a
very
second? It's
easy
like,
to make up a disorder. You just put funny words to it, and
yeah,
they
because
just
then
say, "Oh
everything you
yeah."
say, it makes then they can just say that's what she is and that's it. Whatever she's talking about, that's it. And when I used to get emotional and upset, they'd say to me, "See, you know, you're erratic. You're not acting." And it's like because I'm watching my son being put through stuff that he's never been put through when he was with me. He's never been put through when he's, you know, that no child should go through. You know, so what is a normal reaction to that kind of thing? What are you supposed to do? And what they'll try and do is they'll numb your soul all the way down. You know, and I just couldn't take it. I used to be an absolute wreck. Do you know what I mean? And that's how that's what they try and then use it against you and say.
Yeah, well, the thing is, look, for those who have gone through this, who know this, it's about time waking people up. And you know, Brad Brain Business is right. So one of the things I'm actually trying to encourage, and I'm going to pull it off, with all the minorities, all the Asians or the Pakistanis or the Muslims, I know they love making samosas, and they actually make the best samosas. So for the summer, I'm gonna try to encourage every one of them to give some samosas and get to know every single one of their neighbours. I mean, Bradford is going to be hard because there's quite a lot of them. Some streets are just them, but they need to start letting people know. You need to start reaching out. Because what they've actually done is they've created division. They've been dividing us deliberately. We need to understand and come together, united, regardless of color, creed, religion, title, under one cause. Now look at the cause we're talking about here. We're talking about our children. We're talking about sons and daughters of somebody. I mean, we are still that same nation where we used to have one child mistreated, abused, and the whole nation would stand together. And yet right now it's happening in every town and city throughout the country. How are we not able to? It's because of the divide and the indoctrinating that we've been doing. And we better stop watching Netflix and Hollywood and Bollywood. We spend more time on that instead of going on to live things like this. And, you know, I've only reduced this even now to like 1 day a week. Simply because there's so much work to be done. And this is why we're transitioning off here into private meetings where we're not holding back. Now, in them meetings, you saw this due to safeguarding child protection, we limited what we can say or show on here. That's because it's on here. On private Zooms, there's no hold bars on that. We not only tell you who's the paedophile, who's been raping, who was the victim, which social services department covered you, what was her name. You see, we'll tell you everything, but we're also going to back up with our claims. We're going to give you the evidence. And this is why when you got evidence, you don't need somebody's permission to publicize it. You bring it out. If they're inadequate in all areas, this is reality. We look at Ofsted reports, it tells you that they are inadequate in all areas and unfit for purpose. In the field of safeguarding children, child protection, and we're still allowing them to come through our doors. Man, get a grip. This is like an organization that is actually terrorizing, and that's the right word. Terrorizing
the best way to go on
terrorizing,
it. Yeah, sorry.
Terrorizing your home, your children, everything, and we're still sat there. And you know what that leads to? What it becomes, don't you? These are terrorists owned by foreign internationals coming here that have hijacked our government and allowing this abuse to take place just so they can make money on the suffering of our homes and our children to enslave us. Look at all the wars, same shit. What are we going to all these wars for? We've spent 30, 40 billion over the last few years on what? Yet we got children who go to sleep with an empty belly. We got people on the streets living with homeless. We got pensioners who are struggling and suffering. Our NHS has gone to pot. And this is simply because it's all been given and sold off to private corporate companies. Now people need to know who these private corporate companies are. You do realize where this leads to, don't you? Who owns these? Maybe I should do a whole lecture on that actually and start bringing it up. But you see, these are higher, more bigger issues. I need people to focus on the bottom. Are we going to come together and stand up? I'm going to show you, I'll rephrase that. It's not are we are coming together. Regardless of our colour, creed, religion, title. We are coming together in a way that they did not expect. There's a global awakening because people have got used to and known about what's been happening. And the more we get it out there, the more people wake up. Those who are curious, you know, in England, we've got a saying, curiosity kill the cat. Please come forward. Let me show you some evidence and have a look yourself. If you want evidence from your town and city, come forward and let me show you. Otherwise, very soon anyway, you're going to get it anyway because I'm about to release it all on this website and it will be done live so the whole world could see it. And you will be able to access that information and see live victims, live mothers, daughters, sisters, fathers, live victims of child sexual abuse, the lot of it. Because this is a matter of public interest. But the only thing we're going to be still doing on there is doing our safeguarding and child protection. Wayne, let me give you back in. Sorry, Blue Eyed Sister, what you said?
There needs to be more, I think, like money put into some of the protests that happen. I think more people would probably be inclined to turn up if there was like live music. I know that sounds stupid and things like that. Get more of the community together. Like, but I'm at the point now where I want to buy land. I do, like, do you know what I mean? Literally live in a community of people because I can't wait for the day that it changes.
Now, you just mentioned there about community and land. One of the things that we are already putting into place is with the team or within LCS News, we're actually purchasing and we're going to be purchasing land where we're going to be growing everything ourselves. We're going to be supporting ourselves fully, but the public will have access to everything that we're talking about. And we're hoping that if we could get a decent sized land in every town and city, everything we grow for every single person that's hungry, you won't be going to sleep without something in your belly. We will be donating that. It will all be done for free because we don't do this for money. However,
they use food against the children as well in care. They use food against the children in care. Because when I've been through certain stuff, they're only allowed certain food at certain times, and the food gets locked away and stuff like that. Like it's so disgusting. What, you know, and if you actually ever see any care kids on TikTok, if you look down their actual pages, because that's another thing I look at, and there's police there all the time. There's fighting, things are broken. You see the horrible care staff shoving their way through the doors. You know, there's one where the girl was literally, she's nearly asleep in bed, and a big massive man comes in to check on her. Don't knock. Do you know what I mean? And apparently we're the bad people. What we do, whatever we do, happens 110 times worse in the cases. Whatever they accuse us of, do you know what I mean? It's happening 10 times worse wherever they are. There's so many kids being abused in these care homes as well.
Absolutely, 100%. Now, that is fact finding, what you've just said there. And this is why we need to keep letting people know about that. Because it's a case of they're saying, hey, it's happening in the public, it's happening in the public. But they do a majority of it. So when we're talking about paedophile rings, they say it's happening in the public. But the big bulk of it is within the authorities, the paedophile rings. All the way to the parliament. You understand? MI5 knows about it, MI6 knows about it. I'm pretty much sure 007 knows about it. But they're really good at making Hollywood movies. They're fictional characters. They don't do nothing for our nation.
As long as you've got a criminal record check, you're free to do whatever you please. Whatever you please. You can adopt the kids, you can foster the kids, you can do what you want, because apparently that's all that it means. As long as you've got one of them, apparently you're not a danger to anyone, which doesn't make sense either.
Well, this is the thing, you see, majority of these actually do have criminal records. See, if you look at the police, when you join the police, you can have criminal records. They actually allowing that to happen. It's not like it used to be. Once upon a time, I agree, there used to be a certain standards where if you had any criminal conviction, you couldn't be a police officer, you couldn't be a social worker. Now you could be a paedophile and be a school teacher, work with kids. They don't give a shit. Oh, it's happened. It was in the past. Let's give them some more children. See, this is how social workers work. You see, now I'll give you a live example. In Middlesbrough Social Services, they had been mistreating children, abusing children, allowing these crimes to take place. They've been manufacturing documents, manufacturing concerns, manufacturing crime, committing perjury, malfeasance in public office. All these things we say is illegal. They have been doing it. But when they're about to get caught, what they do, they took them out and then they move them to Stockton-on-Tees, then Hartlepool, then Redcar, then Durham, and they ship them to different towns. Now, when you ship them to different towns, what do you think they're doing? They're doing the same thing. But let me explain to you why. Because the more children they take and the more wrong they do, they get promotions. They come from a social worker to a manager, to a team manager, to a director. And do you know what happens at that point? They start opening their own limited company foster care homes. And what they do is, well, there's another incentive. Then now they're getting children, filling up their own foster care homes, stealing our children, filling them up. Isn't this a conflict of interest? We know it is. They know it is. They've been caught, but this is what they're doing. And this is why the public need to know about all this. And you can check a lot of this information. They try to cover it up all the time. And this is why on Company House, they'll make, look, like Sunderland, I'll give you another live example. Sunderland was caught doing all these criminal acts. So they shut down Sunderland Social Services and then reopened it under another company name. But the same staff were employed. How do you work that out?
Yeah, I saw on Facebook there's a Facebook page for foster carers that have been through allegations from the children, and what they're doing now is they're setting up support groups and they're setting up there's funded pages for basically people that have been through allegations, quote. So basically, social services are sort of supporting the foster carers that have been made allegations of. And there was this one there that someone was making allegations of him, and he's gone on there for help, trying help to how to cover it up, and he's put on there about but it was always when I wrote my notes at the same time every day. She always did this at the same time every day, so her behaviour was the same all the time in a pattern or something. And they've worked out a way of how to cover it up and make it look like it's this young person that's with this man instead of obviously the person that is doing it. So
no, 100%. Look, there's a lot of ways of look. Let's go back just for a second in campaigning wise. Look, campaigning wise, this is all about public awareness. We need to get to as many people as possible, because you would not believe it, majority of the public still don't know. because they're living in that cocoon world, that fictional world, that matrix, because they're watching too much Hollywood, too much Bollywood, and too busy watching BBC News. Was it British bullshit
Yeah,
communications?
that them shows are full of pedos as it is. Do you know what I mean? And they're
There
still
you
allowed
go.
to be around.
Absolutely. So this is what we need to them people to wake up and come out of. And once they start coming out of that, it'll be better for them and it'll be better for everybody else. And and the more people start coming forward, the good thing is when you come forward and when we start showing you information and evidence in every town and city, you actually know how bad it is. And a lot of people will tell you this. It's like how deep the rabbit hole goes. When you know about it, you can't walk away from it neither. It's something that, because I believe personally, there's only two kind of people on earth. There's spiritualistics and materialistics. So materialistic, I want a nice car, I want nice this, I want that, I want to do my nails, I want big lips. These are materialistic things. And you have spiritual things where people actually believe love and care and harmony, and they know they've got to answer to something else tomorrow or some supreme being tomorrow. And a lot of people are actually starting to become awake, and we need to get them on the right side. And the more people come forward, the better. The more campaign everybody comes together. We only have to achieve one thing. And that is bringing everybody together, united under one common platform. And you see now, there's so many people here. Everybody's got skill sets. There's people in here. Everybody's got skill sets. They just need to donate 1% of that effort. And what is that? Look, all everybody needs to do is save one child.
And everybody needs to take it in turns as well, because you do such a good job and everything. But I think the problem is people get so worn out by it because it's such an emotional issue. Yeah,
but your sister, on that note, look, I understand it's overwhelming for me, and I admit to this. But every day when I fall, I have to get back up because I know what's at stake. The more people come on board, the better for me. I'm trying to get enough people on board. So this here, we open it 24-hour live. That means 24-hour of live information because there's that much. Never mind your British bullshit communications or BBC and all that bullshit. None of that will make no difference no more. But we have to do what we need to do. If people are journalists, they want to help and support, or they even want to become a journalist. I've actually got journalists who are part of the team, and we'll train people up. You want to be a journalist? We'll make you a journalist. You want to be on the news desk, do reporting? We'll do that. You want to be on a radio channel? We'll let you do that. You want to be the podcast? We'll let you do that. Because as long as you want to work and help for children, because nobody's doing it for me. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for our children. I'm doing it for the look earlier on, how many vulnerable young girls came on, how they were breaking their hearts out, how they are suffering. And if that doesn't touch anybody, I don't know what will. You see, and look, when it comes to the other side of now, I'm going to talk about this briefly. You'll get a lot of people out there, which now it's only a matter of time. I'm about to expose a whole load of people in the public who are actually fighting against campaigners like myself and many, many others. But now the evidence is coming forward. They're actually working with paedophile rings, grooming gangs, and child abuse snatchers from the authorities. All that information is coming out. So for those who are supporting these groups, and if you're sincere that these are all crimes and you want to be on the right side, you better start running away from them people. Otherwise, you'll be associated with them and you'll all be held accountable for it. Because now yous are actually putting the members of the public at risk. Under you are going to be now also known as under the fake flag of safeguarding child protection. And you're more interested in, hey, give me some follows, give me some ticks, give me some likes, give me some. What is the matter with you people? I mean, the amount of times I say people, look, if you're looking to have a row with somebody and you want to show you're on the wrong live, go to the next one. Because I'm not interested in none of that. None of the team that I work with is interested in that. Because this is not what we're doing it for. You've got to be real about this. Don't talk about this. We don't want people just to talk about it. We want the walkers to come forward. Those who could do a little bit, all you got to do is share the context. Show anything that we're putting, videos, everything, get it out. Because this is part of public awareness. And let them know, do you want any questions? Now, look, I'll give you an example. On my TikTok, for example, my top 3 videos. The first one was me breaking down a complaint procedure of how the fraud took place in my case. But within that video, in a timeline, I give you evidence that once you see it, you can't go back from. And that's the tip of the iceberg. Then you see the next one that's pinned of me campaigning and why I'm campaigning. Then you see a third one of how much the law enforcement are walking away, looking the other way, while I'm getting attacked in every single way, including having weapons planted in my briefcase in the courts. And you wouldn't believe it, but let us show you this. And no police comes forward because they're in on it. They don't know what to do about it. I'm like a loose cannon. But look, I'm not a loose cannon. I'm just somebody who cares. I'm nobody special. I'm just like you. Just another parent who's gone through this experience that just doesn't want to look the other way. I refuse to look the other way. Intimidate me, threaten me, blackmail me. Every time I fall, I learned how to just get back up and fight back. Now, those who are weak, now this is why it's so important for those who can do that to help and support, because there's so many who don't know how to do that, that are struggling, that are suffering. Are we not supposed to help them? The weak ones. And remember, the most weakest part of their life is when their children are taken away from them, used against them in blackmail. Stay quiet or you'll get a criminal record. Or we'll do this, or we'll do that. And the solicitors, what do they say? Oh, do whatever they say. Oh, yeah, they rob, rape, abuse, steal, manufacture documents, manufacture concerns, manufacture crimes, and go along with it. What kind of solicitors are these? Because it's one big, sick gangsters. There's only one way to move forward. You fight back, but you fight back in a way that you should fight back. Because at certain points, I don't want to put anybody at risk. And surely on public media, I always tell them not to talk too much about their personal details or stories, or even give the location out. I don't want it on public media. Why? Because these perpetrators are hounding you. They're hounding you all the time. They're hounding me. I've only just moved again. And I've moved 7 times in the last 10 years. Because they just won't leave me alone. Because of what I'm doing and what I have. And this is why in our private meetings, I'm actually handing this evidence over to you. And we've actually spoke about some of this evidence on public media. And 100%, even till today, 100% unanimous decision is always the same. That the government, these are liars, criminals, and storytellers. But the extra part is this. When they walk away, they have that piece of evidence. Now they could beat them with a stick with as well. That here's your fact findings. Don't talk about your crap findings. And that's why the system is starting to break. And we need to break their spine. And my aim is to break their fucking spine. Our children mean more to me and our daughters than them. Don't give a damn about them. Yeah, FE 100% right. Wayne, did you want to add anything? I know I've said a lot, but I want to keep uttering a lot of this. I need people to wake up. I need people to ask the right questions.
Yeah, I mean, at least that's what people, because obviously there's always people scrolling through, so there's people that want to know what the live's about. So it's not, you are meeting a new audience every 10 minutes, essentially. So it is a massive message to deliver. No, I mean, the only thing, obviously, because like you sit there and you go, well, what can I do? And we live in a very messy society where the monsters feel that they're safe to walk the streets and that they're untouchable. And it's just like, how do you take back the power? And now one idea that I come up with, because obviously I was looking into it myself, where they did a test with pubs, and this was to do with women more than children. But essentially, you can ask in and say, where I think it's like, where's Anastasia or where's Alicia? And essentially, it's like a test to basically tell a barmaid, I'm in trouble, I need help. and they did it round up and down the country, and the results were, back in the early 90s, it was almost 96% that barmaids were aware of it, people knew, and they'd get the person away in safety. Now it's less than 20% know what the hell they're talking about. There was also another thing with like hidden symbols where you could tuck your thumb under, and you just flash your four fingers, and essentially that's meant to be a warning signal to help me as well. So I kind of dug into it. Once I saw one video and I was like, what the hell are they doing? And then realized what it was. I went to look to do my research whether there was any others that I should be made aware of. And that was when I kind of come up to the idea of, I think, kind of what we need is a symbol. Just like when you see people that wear them sunflower lanyards, you know they've got a hidden disability. So as soon as you see that, you're like, instantly, doesn't matter what it is, you immediately recognize that symbol. And this is what we need for people that believe in like your cause, for example. So if you had like a defined symbol, if I was walking down the street with my missus, for example, and there was a victim, they would see that symbol and know that they could run up to me and I would intervene. Or basically you've got a safety symbol. Now, the issue that I come across when I was thinking theoretically about this was that if you create a community like that, and it would obviously bring people together under that banner, there's very little that you could do to stop them from putting on a jumper and voila, you've now got a victim running into a monster's hands. And it's how do you handle it? And it once again, annoyingly, boils back to the point of we need harsher sentences. We need to have it, because these days, I'm sorry, but across the whole criminal system, people come out into society, go, don't like this, I'm going back in. And we're funding it all. We pay for their names. When they come out with a new identity, who's paying for all that? We are. Why?
Wayne, I just wanted to add on to that.
Yes, buddy.
What you're saying about, that symbol could be abused. But all you simply do is run a warrant card system like the police, where you've got a proper identifications card, that's that links back to a proper company, and then you can show that person your card, and then they know that they're safe with you and you're with the right organisation. So it could be got around.
That's knowledge I didn't know how you could kind of so you're adding on to it. But yeah, it's just something like that, because I think it would also deter people. Because say, for example, even women late at night, if you see a bunch of men walking home from a pub wearing that symbol alone, they know not to try, because if they tried, they're most likely going to get jumped. And again, it's just a way of reclaiming the streets, because one thing I've noticed in England in general, in the last, 10, 15 years, it's a horrible vibe that's changed, where you don't want people to walk out the streets alone. I mean, it's got to the point now where my missus only has like a 15-minute walk home, but in that 15 minutes, anything can happen. So it's just like, maybe I should go and meet her at work and walk her back.
Yeah, Wayne, there used to be a thing in America and New York called the Guardian Angels, and they used to travel the subways and keep everyone safe on the tubes,
I remember they had the orange
system.
Neil, can I leave it with you three? I'm just going to put a coffee on if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, of course, mate.
We actually have quite a few groups like that do actually roam our streets. So I've seen them. I've seen a group called Street Angels up in Hammersmith, and they were walking around all of that. I mean, they all had like the same.
It's similar to the scatter, isn't it, Ross?
So kind of going back to what I was talking about earlier about getting to know your communities. Alongside what Rangy's trying to do, I'm also trying to set up something that will be, it doesn't even need to be me that sets it up. It could just be the local area where you guys are. So it would be the idea that of it's called Scatter Guardians, and so there'll be a rapid response to. So I'm trying to get an app built for this. Okay, so it'll be a rapid response. So a vulnerable family, they'll have this app on their phone. And if they've got social services knocking on their door with the police standing outside, they just hit the panic button and it will alert the local teams. So the teams will have to be very local, so like within a few streets or 5 or 10 minutes down the road. And so, that'll give the parent time to, document anything that's going on, try to keep these people at bay for as long as possible. And then form a line, once we get there, form a line outside of that property. Obviously, we're gonna have to. It's gonna take screening, because everything eventually is going to be every system, and just like what Wayne was saying a minute ago, every kind of symbol and stuff like that, there is going to be abuse of it. So it is going to be something.
Yeah, we'll also have journalists attending those events as well. So there'll be an LCS journalist on site reporting live.
And but just like if you guys can set up something like that in your own area. So this is why I say it's important to get to know your community, because you might be the broken one, but you might find others who think that oh, I'm alone, I'm going through this, and you might find others, and you might be their savior. You might be that person who it went from hello neighbor to like, whoa, that's your story, and gosh, I'm so glad I met you, because I'm going through the same thing. And you know what? You can bolster to each other and help each other. And you've always got us as well. So, if you do need help, or you are in a position to offer help, visit the website and just jump on, because there are more and more cases every single minute of every single day. And it's getting worse. And it's not easy work, especially if you're on the help desk. It's really not easy work, so you must have a bit of a stomach. And so I don't recommend anyone who is going through the process at the moment to join on the help desk. But, any kind of help that you can give, like what Rangy was saying earlier, just share the post, talk about it to neighbours, mention it to people. If you
I think it's like, if we can connect people locally, if people have got a problem, you can go and literally just have a cup of tea with someone that understands the problem, that actually knows.
The issue is now is that it's getting worse, just because even like this month, there's been multiple people that have obviously had videos or clips of people in the park filming their kids. And when they call the police, they're like, well, they're on public property, so there's nothing we can do about it. They're not committing a crime. Because, like, one of them argued, they're like, we say they're filming your kids, they'll say they're filming the tree. And it's just like, well, that's just a pathetic, like, when you know what it insinuates, it's just like, it makes you feel like you really want to deck them. But, I mean, I've seen quite a few videos, and I've kind of gone to the part where I now follow American ones. With these predator groups, where obviously they're doing Angels Works up and down, praise to every single one of them in the country that are set up in their own community. They're travelling up to Scotland, down to Wales. They're going where they need to trap these people, handing them on a platter to police, and then obviously waiting years for the court to even be heard. Meanwhile, the victims' numbers are growing. And then, like, some of them, I don't even know how they have the patience, because they get to them 3-4 times. They know these people by name, and they're just not getting dealt with. And this is where it boils back to all the hours they're putting in is not resulting in an outcome. Because even when they do go in, they come out, they're not meant to have access to the internet. What's the first thing they do? They get access to the internet. Because whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, all of them have search engines.
Yeah, we need to just get rid of the vulnerable prisoner wing, basically.
Well,
and then that's
even inside prisons. Like, what happens, I'm afraid. Because, I'm sorry, but when you think about it, you have, like, serial killers and all the rest of it, like unalivers and all the rest of it, and even they don't allow them. And these are some of the darkest monsters we have in society, and even they're sickened by their actions. So how far do we have to go? I personally believe that anyone that would do that to a child that's innocent to that degree and take that innocence away from them, they stop becoming a human. They lose the right to become a human.
Yeah, see you later.
Unalive. Yeah, this is it. I mean, obviously, some people waive the idea of castration, but quite frankly, it's their head that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know what? You're 100% right. I overheard a little bit what Brain was saying about public members coming together. So I want to add on to that. One of the bits you might have already heard of a group called Rapid Response Team. They do specific parts of it. This is another part of what we're trying to put a network throughout the whole country. We're also trying to see if everybody came together when it comes to a rapid response team with this situation, because there's different parts of it. So let's say social services. it'll be a case of people just making a call, or whether an email or something. There'll be a panic button. It'll go straight to LCS News. We've already got a map and system on there, but this is another side we're going to do where we will have qualified people in that field that will turn up to make sure they're not taking the children illegally. No bullying, no intimidating, not the police handcuffing little children, dragging them out like the dirty scruffs they are. You know what I mean? With these grown-ups, they're absolutely vile. But we can put these teams together. And people are coming forward, but we just don't have enough people because there's that much going on. So right now, for example, if this was to happen, we have people now in Birmingham. For example, we've got them in Bradford, we've got them in Manchester, we've got them in Middlesbrough, we've got them in Newcastle. But if we could get a team like this in every town and city, where it's a case of the public then knows about it, all they need to do is make a call. It'll come into a call center, somebody will pick it up, and they will alert the right department in that district, qualified with the legal team, to turn up at the doorsteps. Okay? So this is what we need. This is what the whole thing about communication and everybody networking together and having that little bit of input, because we need to change everything. We can't go along with their bullshit anymore. Look, right now, I'll give you a live example. For over 12 months, well, actually, for the last 10 years, these crimes have been going on and nobody has taken any reports in, and it just gets ignored within the police. So what's the point of telling them it? We need our own people who actually care and will challenge whoever's in front of them. Because you got to understand, the police are the most uneducated, vile people in this country. Most of the time, it's just uniform, that power trip that goes to the head. We are the law. You're not the law, you monkeys. There's a law that you're supposed to follow. You don't follow the law, that means you're not the law. And this is why I said earlier on, if you follow the law, that makes you the law, which also means you could arrest the police. You could arrest the social workers. You could arrest every single one of these. And there's the court side of it. I know there's a few people who are working, and we've got a barrister that I've been working with. We're trying to get this sorted where we have our own courtrooms. We start hiring the courts. We have our own judge, own jury, own panel, independent. Not biased, independent, properly. And we take these people to court, and then we'll go take them to jail. We'll do the sentence, what needs to be done. See, all these judges are the same. They're on higher.
Only if I can be your judge, because I'll tell you I'm unbiased, but I'm definitely biased.
Yeah, well, I'm happy if you find the evidence, you see the evidence against the perpetrator. Man, I'd love for you to be the judge. Because these kind of things should be harsh. You're 100% right, Wayne. It should be harsh.
The whole criminal system needs a reset, because I'm sorry, but when people prefer to be in prison than out of prison, it's stupid. There's more access to reforming yourself in prison than there is for people that are outside. If you want to become a plumber right now, you better have deep pockets, because it's the only way you're going to learn. Same with electricians, same with even, becoming a brickie. Meanwhile, most of these courses are offered to prisoners free of charge. And these are people that are going to be inside for about 10 years. Make it make sense. Yeah. I get it. They need to serve a purpose. They need to reform. Yeah, reform doesn't work at all, because the second you go into prison, most of the time, you're stuck in there for 10 to 15 years. Guess what? You're going to make some contacts, whether you like it or not. And then obviously you go on to then repeat. And of course, they reckon figures aren't worse. But I genuinely disagree, because I'm sorry, but it's a circle you hang with.
You see, now, Wayne, we could easily fix all this problem by just going back into God's law. This is supposed to be a Christian nation, is it not? If we go into God's law, it solves all our problems. Because if you do something like this, you know what the sentence is, don't you? End of story.
It will
game over.
Keep people on the straight and narrow.
This is the thing. It's a deterrent to keep them straight and narrow. Who you better think twice.
Yeah, whether you like Trump or not. One thing I do agree with him was one of the things he signed in, whether I hope it gets passed, you shoot an officer, that's life in prison.
Yeah.
Whole separate charge. So that'll make everyone think again before pulling that trigger. One simple law like that.
Depends if you're being attacked by a policeman, though, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, I saw a comment earlier on that obviously said about obviously putting cameras in social services like children's room when they're thingy like that. But then that, one, takes away the privacy of the kids because they deserve their privacy. And two, truth be told, when does that help? Because police walk around with cameras all the time. They never seem to catch themselves being criminals. It's odd, that.
It is, but we got to take it. Overall, what we need is a revamp of the whole system. That's what we need. We need to destroy social services system. It's operating illegally. We need everybody held accountable before they could operate any longer. And we could do that. It's just we need to come together. And when it comes to pedophiles, this is a big issue. But remember, this pedophile starts with our own government, our own leaders that are the perpetrators. And this is the reason why, if you look at it, if you start doing all the links, you'll start realizing the amount of links they have where the perpetrators on the streets, their uncle or cousin or somebody is either the councillor, the MP or the mayor. Or they're a police officer, a sergeant or whatever it is. This is the issue. And then they try to favoritism, and then Judge B's bias. Now look what happened about that stupid dumbass BBC guy for what he did, and he got a slapped on the wrist.
He's back on the telly.
Say again.
He's back on the telly. Fucking ridiculous.
Back on the telly. Yeah. Now can you imagine? Now if that was any member of the public, you're going to jail. But no, they're favoritizing it's their own network. It's a system, it's a part of corporate companies. As long as they help each other, they don't mind. And this is where we disagree. And we don't want that. Yeah, Princess, you're right. BBC full of PDFs. I'm glad you're just saying this. I'm saying that. I don't care about that. I can just say anything I want. Because when I speak the truth, I like to say pedophiles, child abusers, child trafficking. But I understand what you're doing there. And I respect you for that, bless you. But just the way it is. Wait till I get on the news desk. Wait till what's coming up within the next 4 weeks. Then you'll think, oh my gosh, now we're on a proper roll, aren't we? Because every day we'll be releasing live cases, live stories. And I will be telling you about the grown-ups who are abusing children. I won't be covering your boss. An ex-social worker, an ex-so-and-so, or social worker one. No, I'll be saying names. Like Kathleen Shaw, Tina Barker, you see? And them, all the way to the judges. So you remember all this? If social workers are telling the truth, right, that means the social workers in Cleveland, in Middlesbrough Family Court, have made out Judge Matthew into a liar, criminal, storyteller, into her covering up rapes, allowing physical, emotional, psychological abuse, and also accepting documents that are manufactured documents, manufactured concerns, and manufactured crimes. Then she's held accountable for it. Hang on, she's not the only one. Then we'll go for all the judges. This is where they're stuck at the moment because, when you go through a complaint procedure, you go up in levels. I've actually gone all the way to the top because I was blackmailed that if I spoke up, I will get a criminal record and what will become of my kids. A social worker told me this to my face in an intimidation. Now, look, I went through a complaint procedure and what happens, you go up this ladder, up this ladder, up this ladder, and eventually you'll come to a door, you knock on it and you realize there's no fucker home. But what you also realize, the door's open and you open the door and you think, what the hell's going on here? It's a fraud. Now, this is why the first video on TikTok of mine, I've left it there. And that's what they're worried about because that's what I show you. And that's when it becomes a blaming game. It's not me. It's the judges. It's not me. It's the police. It's not me. It's another social worker. It's the parents. Isn't this the same attitude of a pedophile? It's not me. It was him or them. Look, these sickos are all caught. And let me tell you something, people are not going to like it. Majority of the child abusers in the government or in social services are women. Now look around you. Of all your social workers, why is it all women? And it's women that are manufacturing documents against you, manufacturing concerns, manufacturing crimes, and they're getting away with it. Have a good think about that.
It's been proven time and time again. I mean, you just need to look at the prison services for that. The amount of them that have gone down for organising the solicitation of them. I mean, but you are bang on with the police, because obviously anytime they're involved with the caseworker, they've arrested a few of them now where they basically were sheltering and using them as traffic. They were basically the bypass gate and delivering them straight into the arms of these monsters. And I know when you get stuff like that and you hear news like this, it's just like, where's the justice? Because at this point, like I said, I just don't think anything is going to be good enough, regardless of whether you hand platter everyone and you literally print out an entire list of names for them to go after. There isn't justice, because I don't call 3 years in prison. They're out in 1.5 justice, or wow, they can't go on the internet. That sounds scary. It's just absolutely like, wow, you're helping their mental health instead of helping the victim's mental health. In the meantime, it's time and time again, you're just adding more to that list of people that are just never going to get over it. Because the sad reality of this, and they've done the studies, is most of these people that get assaulted go on to do it again or do similar because they just don't know how to do it, because their life has been destroyed.
Yeah.
It's just the disease that spreads throughout the entire economy. It just needs to be fixed. I don't know. I like I said, other than going to the harshest possible crimes and bringing back that kind of thing, I don't know what would even justify it.
Well, the thing is, we've got to combat in every single level. So one of the other things that I'm trying to do, even though I'm getting targeted a lot, is actually doing a class action. I'm trying to get everybody to wake up, help and support whoever we can, put everything together. And then I'm actually more than happy, and I am going to do that, what I say. I'm going to take it to court as a class action. Whether I've got 1,000 cases, 10,000 cases, 100,000 cases, I'm going to take it to the high courts, King Bench, Queen's Bench, send them all on the friggin' sick because they're full of shit. Then we'll go to the European Union. Then preferably we need to shut the whole government down, because the government is operating illegally. And the only way to do that is the public to wake up and stand together. We could even do that tomorrow.
Yeah, frustratingly, I mean, most of the people, even on this app, when we get onto this topic, that all they give a crap about is the colour of the skin. Because I was trying to argue with a silly idiot earlier, which basically turned around and said, well, you don't see it in our country with the great gangs. And I'm like, no, because we've got more monsters individually targeting our kids than we have. It's just like, it's no lesser of a crime just because they're doing it. Because like I say, it's like 85% white. And so you immediately, you know what the issue is in the country, but no one's looking at it. Like you said, obviously that's the reason why they won't investigate that grape gang, because half of the government's name would be on the list.
Yeah, correct. And actually talking about half of the names, I was giving out some names earlier on. Let me, while we're doing this, give you another 5. So I've got Alex Dyer Atkins, Labour councillor and school governor, 2 years for 42,000 images of child abuse. Another one, Adrian Circuit, Labour councillor and school governor, 3 years, community order for child porn. Okay, let's give another one. Steve Carnell, Labour councillor and school governor, found guilty for child porn. Greg Vincent, Labour councillor and school governor, guilty of child pornography. Nelson Bland, Labour councillor and school teacher, guilty of for making child porn images. Keith Potts, Labour councillor, Labour Party councillor and school governor, guilty of making child porn images. I'll give you another 2. John Johnson, Labour Party councillor, guilty of downloading child pornography. Manish Soot, Labour MP candidate, offering school children money for sex. Now, a lot of those what I've just mentioned in them 5, 6, a lot of them got input in the schools. Now, you see how dangerous life we've been living. They've got input in the schools, and this is the mentality of these people. This is the sickness of our society, and we're going to start releasing all this. And this, what I'm reading out, is going to be made available. I'm quite shocked. Don't get 100% of the people saying, "Hey, you're talking about this. Where's the evidence?" I'll show you it. You want to know about
to be honest, I wouldn't even think too much about the evidence because even I fell out with that myself over a family member because the way I saw it was they were a paedophile, sympathizer, because they basically turned around and said these groups that go around and capture these people, like I spoke about on Facebook when you were getting your coffee. They were basically, obviously, when they get these people, they hand them on a platter, and because you can't apparently call them a paedophile till they've been through the court system, which is absolute bonkers, because hurty words are much more important than what they're doing. Yeah, I don't know where the reset button is. I honestly don't. But giving you names of all these people coming out into the public, I don't know how much that's going to thingy, because it's getting to the point now where we essentially just need our own vigilantes to go around. I mean, there was a guy, I can't remember whether it was Australia or US, but he basically went around with a hammer and dealt his own justice. And even when he was arrested, the police were like, "We're doing the due diligence of arresting you, but you have our every support." And there were people that are obviously paying into funds to make his thing more comfortable, but obviously he had unalived 6 of them. And he because that's what I said earlier, is that I do much prefer these groups that go around tracking them down in America, because at least I see some physical retribution for what they've done. They do beat them up a bit. But in the UK, because the law's so tight and they don't want their case to fall through, the best they can do is defend them until they can hand them over to the police. And then half the time, the case still gets thrown out.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? This is the thing, you see. Now, you go ask the fathers of the daughters that go through this. You ask the brothers. Sooner or later, if they don't buckle their IDs up, you're going to do something themselves. And the thing is, this is where I'm trying to get people to wake up and do the right thing. And that's why, for me, I'm doing from the authorities first. Because they're the fucking twats to begin with, what they're doing. Because they're the ones that are inciting violence to begin with. They're the ones that are allowing these perpetrators to get away with. And then what they do is, like I think one of you mentioned, they let the court case go on for years. Years and years and years.
Drag it out because people can't think. I mean, look at today's horrible update of the Jeffrey Epstein case, where one of his victims has unalived herself because she just couldn't live with the situation. And look how long that's been going.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is the Western. This is actually the corrupt system. It's designed like that. So I mean,
the system's broken, because a lot of people say, "Well, the system's broken." It's like, no, system's working fine because it's working how it's intended.
Absolutely, and I'll give a simple example of how bad this is. If you go back to JFK, they knew who was responsible for murdering him, but they put a law in that they can't release it for 50 years. What kind of psychopaths is this? That means, let me make it clear, that means they knew the person who killed the most important person in the country, who murdered him, got rid of him, so he could live his normal life and get on with it and have his natural death, and then they could release it. Well, how's that justice?
Or it isn't. That's what's known. But I mean, that was a bit like, obviously, when they took the attempt on Trump. It's just like they had every chance to stop that from even being fired, and they just let it happen.
Well, this is the thing we don't want. We need to change everything, and the only way the change is going to happen is if the public come together. I mean, I hear it all the time about how the system is a load of bollocks, and I would like to remind everybody all the time, you know, when these daughters or these children are being raped, go ask the parents. We know the children are going to live a life sentence. Go ask the parents how they feel. And then you get your right answer. Not these people telling us what law is. They are not the law, remember, and they don't follow the law. They manufacture the law of their own, cater it to themselves. This is why I think earlier on we had some awakening, we were talking about law, but they don't follow the law. We already had the law.
I mean, I don't know whether it'd be of any use. You might have already seen it, or at least other people in your group probably have seen it, because there's another one going around on Facebook, is the Great National Strike that's meant to be happening next month. And obviously it's because people have had enough of the government, because of the cost of living, because of the council tax, just the general everyday society of living in this country. I mean, myself, I think we're done as far as the UK, regardless of these criminals that are roaming our streets and living in a society. I don't know what the next 20 years looks for, because most people can't afford to live, breathe, have children, all the rest of it. There is just no life to leave here. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm sick of thinking we work 50 years. You'd be lucky if you don't have a health condition by the end of that. And then you'd be lucky if you don't basically fall into your grave. Because I think we're meant to be here for a bit better of a purpose than that. It's stupid. But they're basically trying to rile people up for that reason. And they've got a thing going on in every city, a meeting point. And the first one's on the 24th of May. And then obviously they say, depending on how that goes on, that's a Saturday. They'll obviously do future ones based. I mean, I personally don't know what action, but this is, again, what power can they have? But potentially, maybe if you can form the groups, spread the word, you're both spreading each other's message, then obviously we're all under the same banner.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. If everybody comes on the same banner now, with you mention the banner, one of the issues that I'm seeing, they still.
I don't necessarily mean merged together. You'd still be single entities, but at least obviously by him spreading yours and you're spreading him, essentially you both getting the updates, if that makes sense. Because obviously, I know it's an entirely different topic.
No, I totally agree. Now, look, at the end of the day, every topic comes back to our children. Every topic.
Well, this is it, because obviously, like I said, you always want to leave a better future, or at least a better life than you live. You want to leave for your children. That's what we're all here for.
Absolutely. You see, this is the big issue, you see. So when we talk about COVID, we're talking about, look, even our water is actually came out unfit for human consumption, and we're paying for it. The hell's all that about? You see? So
COVID, this is what I mean. There are people out there trying it. I found another guy that's trying to rally people together to buy a water reservation, I think he said it was. And then obviously we'd have access to our own thing without them tipping it in, because we'd have our own reservoir. So there is people trying to make that thing a solution. But this is the trouble, is because everyone's trying it individually rather than all as one. It's really hard to tie these groups together.
Well, here's the thing. If all of us come together, everything they have belongs to us, not them.
Well, this is just it.
Snatch
That's
it
where
off
I
them.
get back to my earlier idea of trying to at least put that symbol out there, because once you see that, then obviously they know it's not safe. Because when I heard that supposedly what they're proposing is teaching kids about basically this kind of stuff younger, so that way if it is happening to them, they can obviously speak on it. Because there was a case where a girl kept saying that my dad was touching my cookies, and the teacher didn't understand what that meant. So they're basically saying we should teach them younger. And I'm like, at the point you have to teach people that could be potential victims that they are victims, is the point that you admit you failed as a society.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be for them to tell you I'm being touched. It should be for you to make sure it never even happens in the first place.
Yeah. Somebody just put a comment on Rangy is on bail. I don't think so.
I don't know. Well, I mean, even like I said, at the end of the day, even if he's in, best he's getting his 3 years, and good behaviour he'll be out in 2. It's not a solution.
I think somebody's talking about me. I'm on bail. I don't know where they're getting that from.
Oh, okay. You're having a good time.
Having a good time, of course. This is you get people like this. You always get people.
No, they always want to give you a bad name and then try and think, and then it gets off the point. That's the whole thing. Doesn't matter the topic. They give you a label like far left, far right, extremist this, extremist that, and then they forget what the hell you're even standing for. It's so stupid. It's just literally a sidetrack you. Because I always say to people, well, you label me, and then when I'm done after a month, TikTok can decide what I am, because I don't know. I have a brain and can see the picture.
No, but this is the thing, you see. So anybody in general like this, I mean, not just that person, but anybody, they only working for the opposition. The opposition is either pedophiles, corruption, or grooming, or social services, child snatching, child trafficking. They're all part of that side. They're probably related to somebody who's one of those. That's the issue with all of them. You know what I mean? And they're not going to get away with it. They don't like the idea of the public coming together. And this is the shameful part. But I always remind people, these are only minorities, by the way. minorities that are trying their best to control the rest of the population. This is why every single person needs to be speaking the path. The path should be the same, which is 100% right. All these topics, COVID, 5G, the lot of them, they all are important. Oh, excuse me, but they all lead to our children, whether we like it or not. And if we are going to have a safer society tomorrow, we better do something about it today. That's the main thing. And this is why, I mean, I know you mentioned about the reservoir. I agree with you. But if public actually come together, everything they have belongs to us. Look at the police at the moment. When you go video outside the police station, you can't record our station. It's not your station, you morons. It's our property. Belongs to the public. You are our servants. Never mind telling us that you are somebody special. You're nobody special. You can't even do the job right. You know, this is where the whole thing is going bad now. There's too much corruption. Who are you supposed to believe out of these? Where is justice? And sometimes if justice does not prevail, we fight for justice. And this is why there's two ways of doing that. Either the public come together, put everything on a standstill, whether it takes a day, 2 days, a week, a month, we shut everything down. No more council tax, no more electric bills, none of your bills, forget it. Either you listen and do what we tell you and demolish the shit that you've got going on in the parliament. And really, one of the other side I am going to say, we need to start our own parliamentary group. We need it. In every town and city, people come together. If everybody was together, overnight, you could put the application in for a new parliamentary group. Not Labour, not Conservative.
Because not one of them stands for the people. This is the big problem we're facing now, is that the next, basically, I can guarantee you who's going to win the next election. Whoever puts on their plaster will deport the illegal immigrants. Whoever says that, the front and banner, that will be who gets the win. It's so stupid because they're not even illegal immigrants. It's the way you get into this society. You have to be here present.
Well, this is the thing. So for the public to do that, the best way I could see is people like yourself to come for the elections for your local towns. I need the public who actually care about our community, not the corporate businesses that are dictatorships forcing it down our throat. And then we need somebody then in the parliament to tell people what we want, not what they want. Nobody gives a shit what the government wants, because the government is our servant, not we their servant. I can't even believe we've come to this, you know. In the 80s and 90s, the government used to serve the public. Now the public is serving the government.
Yeah,
whatever they say, we're going along with it.
Solution for that, you simply cut the government's pay salary down, so we stop paying for all their lunches, we stop paying for all their airport trips, we cut their salary down to 30k, and whoever stays in the job wants to fix the country. Whoever doesn't want to fix the country will leave the position, and we'll actually start getting people to give a crap about the everyday man, that know what it is to be at the bottom, to know what it is to have a hard upbringing. Because the sob stories they tell, most of them have never even known what it is to sleep on a floor instead of a mattress. That's the pathetic thing about the government. It's literally just a ticket to spend all of our money. And there's representation. Just like people love to say who polices the police, I want to start a party that says who governs the government, because they ain't governing us.
No, you said right. Lodi, 1 second. I've got somebody new in. Let me just see if they've got a question or a comment. Foxy, can you hear me, Foxy, at the bottom there?
Yeah,
Foxy,
we're just not saying anything. Maybe go to low and then come back.
Okay, they're not saying anything. That's all right. They'll come back. Lodi, yeah, go ahead, you man.
Yes, I think there's a misunderstanding of what the situation is. The governments are businesses now. They are not governments. In the 90s and 80s and 90s, they were all flipped. So when you say cut their salary, reduce them, that the MPs set their own wages, their own vote on their own wages. So that's out of the door. The issue is the government is already as a corporation and is serving corporates, which is really the bankers. The banking cartel owns the government. All assets, all that is being sold off, so it's privatized. So this was in Maggie Thatcher's time. The Rothschild was the advisor to Maggie Thatcher. He's actually the chap that was working for the Rothschild Bank became the chancellor. So they set the things in place a long time ago, 40, 50 years ago. So to say that we do this, we do that, you have to understand the groundwork, where you're on the battlefield. What do you understand about it? How the things are set.
Oh, I agree with I mean, 1 in 4 MPs in this country are landlords. They have a second home that we're funding. But obviously the initial currency that they're getting, the salary they're collecting, regardless of whether they're business owners in the background, that's still going to take a dent out of them. It will still make them think. But like I said, once again, it would still make them back away from the position. Because this is a problem. We've got a group of individuals that we all know are criminals, and none of them are getting convicted. But spending all of our resources trying to get them convicted is just going to basically run us dry. Yes,
can I just say, these what you're saying is that the sound marks from the mainstream media. If you actually, there was the Gordon Bowden. He actually died on the time when the lockdown just happened. Suddenly he died, but he actually found 280,000 businesses from one address, and most of them are boiler operations, and most of the MPs, the lords, ex-prime ministers, everyone were on these boiler boiler businesses. They were just scams, right? So even if you stop all their salaries tomorrow, it makes no difference, because they are involved in a multi-million pound. There's actually, he worked it out, it was over 1 billion from that address alone. So the things but the mainstream media won't tell you that unless you go and research. I've been doing this for 20 years. So the thing is, right? So the thing is that this is the issue. That the salary and what the BBC tells you, what the mainstream tells you, is just what they want you to hear and what to concentrate on. They are not actually telling you where, for instance, when the South Africa, when they dismantled the nuclear bombs, there were 2 kiloton bombs they had, right? When they actually, some of them went to US to get dismantled, decommissioned, but 3 of them went missing. 3 of them went missing. And who was involved? David Cameron was involved. He was a junior for Maggie Thatcher. And the weapons inspector who committed suicide, so to speak, he was involved. They went and actually, and 3 of these missing nukes went missing in the Middle East. And they were hoping that it was actually went to Iraq with Saddam Hussein, but it didn't. It went to North Korea, and one of them, anyway, I'm not going to say anymore. But the issue is David Cameron was involved. The Tory party made millions, 5 million or something, because they lost them on purpose. So there's a lot that Gordon Bowden have found out at the time. He actually went and provided all the evidence to the parliament. They didn't want to know, because the intelligence agencies are involved. The intelligence agencies control all the MPs. They allow these things to happen. Are you telling me that they don't know Jeffrey Epstein was meeting with who whenever they met the royal family? They know. They actually with them at the time. So everything is as it is. The media, what you hear is it's all controlled. It is controlled for a purpose.
Obviously. It would be, otherwise you'd have riots in the streets if they told the truth.
Yeah. So this is the point. What you're saying, is they give you these things to argue, to divide people. They say, "Oh, this is going to be done. That's ridiculous." They need one world government, so they need to demolish all governments. They need to demolish. They have to subvert all governments. They have to make people dissatisfied with every government, not just this country, every country, because all these people are into the esoterical, in the occult, and they got an agenda, and the agenda is the blueprint: one world government, one world currency, one world religion. So the Pope's died. He was promoting unifying some aspects of different religions. So all this is all planned, and it's going that way. And people need to know where they are standing and what's their aim. Once you understand what their game plan is, then you'll be able to see where you can, when they're about to pull the government down and make people dissatisfied with the government, if there's something that you hijack that movement, that dissatisfaction, and turn it. So Rangy and the likes of Rangy, if they can jump in that moment when the people are dissatisfied, by design dissatisfied, and suddenly put the cat in the pigeons, disrupt the whole
Put a
system.
band-aid over it, for example. Like if they wanted to stop all of this immigration to the UK, they could click their fingers and do it tomorrow. It's not hard. They're just choosing not to.
Yes. So Hitler couldn't come through the channel, but people can come on a dinghy. They have actually had the recording of the Coast Guards going to Mediterranean and pick several hundred immigrants, you know. So, and I can guarantee you they were most likely from Libya and most probably were fighters. You know, they went all the way there to pick apparently, anyway, I'm not, there's certain things I cannot go too deep into. Right. But the point is that people are dissatisfied. How can other normal folks can use that and turn it against the system? And I think that's the opportunity, because when everybody's happy, making lots of money, this and that, they couldn't give a shit about anyone else's problems. But when they are dissatisfied with the government, when they're their hardship, money-wise or whatever, and not feeling well, that's the best opportunity to start a political party, to start subverting their narrative, you know, and damage, and that's what I think. But multifaceted, and you need different people with different assets, different abilities to come in and put their effort in and move the thing forward. That's all.
Right, let me just get in there just for a second. This is another call out for everybody who has been watching. In general, there's a lot of issues and problems as you're listening to throughout the United Kingdom, Wales, Ireland, Scotland. Women, children abused in some horrific ways, and particularly with the biggest scandal of social services. If you understand what's happening and you've been listening in, if you feel like you want to help and support, please don't hold back. It doesn't matter what town and city you're in, because we've got people coming forward for help and support in virtually every town and city in the whole United Kingdom, Wales, Ireland and Scotland. I'd appreciate it if you want to help somebody. Now, we are going to do a lot of vetting at the moment, because we've also found there's a lot of perpetrators out there that are trying to infiltrate and get involved in campaigns. Because we know this now for sure, is we will be exposing them very, very shortly as well, just to make sure people don't get caught up in that. So if you want to help and support on these topics, please reach out, let us know where you are. You could either go through the website, let us know in the subject that you want to help and support. So if you go in there, there's a part where it says contact us, claim a ticket. In the subject, type in what you need or what you want to offer, whether you need help and support, or if you need a solicitor, or if you want to donate some time in helping and supporting a victim. All victims we're talking about. We're talking about victims of child sexual abuse, physical, emotional, psychological, children being snatched, kidnapped, going through trauma, as well as the parents that are overwhelmed. And when the help is not there, they're only committing suicide. And I need people to wake up. We can't allow this genocide any further. So I just wanted to put that out. So there's two ways, either through that, or I'll give the headache to Neo at the top there, drop him a follow, drop him a message, what you want to do, and he'll arrange something. But yeah, let's get, we've got another 20 minutes. We normally stay till 12 o'clock. Because every time I do a live, by the time I get off, I get another few dozen emails, and there's like more work. And I just wish and pray that there was more people getting involved, because the more people got involved, it would give us more time, or me to have more time for myself to get other things done and expose them. And this is what we were doing, even though they've been trying to restrict. And generally, the people who are not happy what we're talking about are either part of paedophile rings, corruption with the authorities, or G-gangs. G-gangs, not just in the outside of the public, we're talking about within the government. We're talking about social services grooming our children. We're talking about school teachers grooming our children with the filth that comes out of their mouth. Okay, so I just want to make that very, very clear in all of them. I've been told to ask you. Yeah, that's one of the perpetrators you're asking me about. That's working with them pedophiles. So I hope that helps you. So let's just move forward. If anybody wants to continue, I don't know, was it Lodi or was it Wayne that was saying something before I jumped in?
It was Lodi. Just giving me information. But I mean, this is the problem when you look at even a supermarket society, they are all under one banner. You think there's a difference between Asda's and Iceland, for example, but the money's still going to the same place. So competition beats rivalry at the end of the day.
No, absolutely. People still have time, by the way, for another 20 minutes. If you want to ask a question, you want to get into the boxes, feel free to do so. The only thing we always say is one simple rule: be respectful in the comments and respectful in here, because we do have vulnerable people that come on. I don't want anybody to be triggered. So feel free either way. So I'm just leaving that door open if anybody did want to ask. But we have got another 20 minutes, so we could have an open chat with that. Sorry, Lodi, what were you saying, young man?
I actually discovered some things yesterday, and looking through my papers and then checking with the old superior statutes, and in case what we found out this week by contacting the family court is that where there is a private hearing, it's supposed to have a P in it apparently, but it is apparently the judge can decide to have it as the case number with a C, which is for care. So the judge, we found out that the judge was actually acting unlawfully by concealing the fact that the hearings that we were attending was not, he was pretending it was not a private hearing. And private, not as that is, it's a private, it's private, meaning it is not a de jure court, meaning it's not a lawful court. So the judge was actually instrumental, and we sort of got evidence of that, but just from by phoning the court itself. And we are now starting to get more and more evidence that actually shows, and it means that so people really, what they need to do is really establish if when they go back to discharge a care order or vary it or whatever, if their application was heard in a private rather than a public family law. If that was the case, according to the case law, Supreme case law, etc., it says fraud vitiates all. It means it cancels everything, and everything downstream is cancelled. So if there's more care orders, more of anything, it all gets cancelled. The main thing is to establish that there was fraud at the start. Even if you had the appeal at the Court of Appeal, if you find fraud, it says vitiate everything. So people really, and I've already said to other people, the whole process of this child kidnapping is an administrative court. So that the process, the fraud happens administratively. If you find things that they have not followed, then according to the procedure, then it goes back to the Bill of Rights, the Magna Carta, and all that stuff. It actually says that the procedure has to be followed, the law has to be followed. So then you got superior statutes, which is way over the Children's Act. Now, a lot of people will just go over their head and think, well, I'm not a solicitor, I don't know. Fuck the solicitors, because the solicitors are not going to do shit. They're not going to do nothing, because they're part of the problem. And the reason I say this is because when I was attending court and I told them I'm attending court under duress, right? I saw it, they cannot say, well, you agreed to it. But the point was the Kafkas officer, right? The Kafkas solicitor, right? Well, she was part of the fraud, because she knew it was not a real lawful court. So did the barrister. I phoned Bar Standards Board, and I had a rundown with the Bar Standards Board. And they more or less said, yes, a barrister, if he knows it's not a real court, not a law. It should say I cannot come here and work for the council. It's under lawful court. So she's suddenly into the shit. So as the judge, because he's committed perjury, he perjured his oath. So suddenly from the administrative side, I'm getting more and more evidence that there's fraud. And everything else from then is vitiated. So I'm going to be going to court, and now I have to think. And I think this is one of the reasons they put a senior judge now on my case. They moved, the other one moved because he had committed fraud. So he's moved. They brought a senior court next week, senior judge, right? So all I'm saying, and so that people really need to meticulously look at their the paperwork, and then if it's fraud there, then they have something to grab a hold of. Even they think the solicitors are not going to do nothing, blah blah blah. They might be able to do something themselves. The other thing is, I would love if everyone was putting subject access requests, freedom of information to the councils, put a complaint process. It's going to take 2 years, 3 years, we know, but it'll just overwhelm the bastards. And if everybody was doing that, they won't have time to go and steal more kids, because they have to write reports to the complaints, they have to go meetings, they have to have all sorts of stuff. Now, lastly, I'm going to say the last one. People need to, when they if they represent themselves, they will be sent the documents from the court or the local authority, right? That way they can get the metadata for these files. I've got the metadata now, and from the metadata, from the files that the council sent and the court sent, I see reports that are signed off in the report by a social worker. When I look at the metadata, it's the solicitor for local authorities, the author. So the solicitor for, I'm going to swear now, the solicitor for the local authority is fucked, because she's the author on these reports, and the metadata, it's gone from her computer. She's gone and typed it and put shit in there where the social worker hadn't even written. So now she's got SRA, Solicitor's Regulatory Authority, to answer to. And then I'm going to put another thing, that all their evidence is suspect. So I have to do the table and put screenshots of all that metadata. And I've also found out from the metadata, some of the authors is some name. And I thought, who is this? I've gone and checked it. It's a barrister somewhere in the country. And one of the barristers is in Nigeria. So, because it's an odd name. So it's actually, what they're doing, they're giving the council solicitor, it says what they want from this corrupt judge. They will say what they want, send it to these barristers who probably do internet jobs, like they do 10 drafts in one day and they get maybe £200 each, whatever. They draft it, they send it back to the local authority. Well, once it's out of the country, for instance, that one to Nigeria, it's out of the jurisdiction of UK. So that's the data protection breach, but also potentially. But the thing is that the barrister is supposed to write down, whoever, if people get to know the Family Procedure Rules 2010, they will understand these rules. And the barristers have got to, whoever drafts the orders, supposed to, if it's not, they've got to put their name down, right? And when the council just sends these orders to different barristers, on the internet to type stuff out, and then they just literally type the judge's name at the bottom. The judge hasn't even seen it. He doesn't even look at it, right? And that's the whole thing. It's just like, the whole thing is shit. The simplest, the easiest symbol is shit, right? But people need to actually go and actually delve into their stuff. And so what most councils use, and if most people here on social, they have had back and forwards with social services, they use Mosaic, which is like a case management system, right? And on that, they can redact stuff, right? Redact names and whatever if they need to, and it's straight onto the court bundle. But from the metadata I've gone through, lots of them, because I'm getting it. I'm a litigant person, so I'm getting the stuff direct. So I'm finding that what's happening is that on some pages there are image, and others you can actually select the text. So that's a bit odd. Why some pages is image, And what they're doing is like typing stuff. This is I'm just telling people to actually understand where the corrupt shit goes on. So when they're on the system, for instance, the case manager of the child, they can, if they actually alter anything and save it, the persons they will say who's changed it, who's altered it, and the name. So one way they can actually do it, they can actually open the file, go say to page 10, they want to change the paragraph. They can change the paragraph, get a screen print of that, page 10, right? Don't save it, log out. So, but they got the page print of with the alteration. They PDF that, add it into the bundle, at page 10, right? You do not see it unless you actually try to copy the text. Once you try to copy the text, oh, the whole page is an image. It is not a text. So then you know what they done. They did not get caught out by changing the whole bundle. They've gone in, changed it, but before saving it, they just took up a screen print, got out without saving, and then it doesn't show any change, doesn't show this who's done it, nothing. So, and these are the things I've had to go and think and check the metadata, and this is what people need to do, because if they find a few things like that, they can actually go. And the other thing is, as long as if the court hasn't filed, the council hasn't complied with the case court order or something, the previous one, you can actually go in an hour before and actually hand the stuff in at the case manager. So, and you can ambush the local authority barrister and the Kafka's solicitor. So these are the techniques that they did to me the last the few case management hearings. So I'm learning. So I'm putting it back on them. So people need to really pay attention and not be scared of being litigant in person. It's hard work, but you're more likely to get a result like this than if you get a solicitor. All the solicitors will just say, keep it for the final hearing. Don't add anything. Don't file anything. Keep your powder dry, my solicitor was telling me. And I said, are you crazy? They've already filed nearly 1,000 pages, and you want me to just say, I agree, I don't agree. I agree, I don't agree. What nonsense is that? So I was filing all the evidence at the start, and my solicitor was like, no, don't do it, don't do it. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. There's a lot of information there. I hope people get to sort of use it and then feel more secure that actually finding dirt on them. Now, I will let you know next week how it went, and if I manage to. I want this solicitor to have early retirement. She's been there, too many kids been stolen with her. She's done too many dodgy stuff. And social workers, she's already forced a couple of them to leave because they were actually decent ones, I think. And then the solicitor pushes them out. Anyway, that was it. I'll go now. Thank you. I hope it benefits somebody.
No, I will do. It's good information. Right, we are on our last 8 minutes. I did ask if there's any team members that want to get into the box. Here's your time, because I would like to give at the end of every time we're on live, everybody the opportunity for the last words of wisdom or what their thoughts are, whether about the live or whether about the topic, whatever's that's actually on their mind. So if there's anybody that wants to jump in and get into that, because that's what we're going to go into now. So Lodi, since you went and said what you said, is there anything you wanted to add on for the public as words of wisdom or in general words to wake them up?
Right, you broke up for a bit. No, I'll leave everything. I think I've said the important things that I found, and I think people need to. They could literally go back if they got stuff on the computer. Go back and look at the metadata now, and then they say, oh, if the solicitor was doing the drafting of the documents instead of the social worker is supposed to be doing the reports and risk assessments and stuff. But if the solicitor was doing it, that's fraud. They might be able to, the case that they thought was dead, they might be able to use that and go back and say there was fraud committed in my case. And if it's fraud, there's case law in that. It vitiates all. That's what it says. If there's fraud, doesn't matter. 5, 10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter. They can go and redo the whole thing. And imagine if there was 5,000 cases suddenly went to the high court, with fraud. Well, not even 5,000, 500. Yeah. Anyway, so that was it. I hope everybody just wakes up and see what's going on and see the bigger picture, and then find out and then use it, because once you see what's going on, you know, with the direction of the flow, then you'll be able to decide which side of the river you want to swim. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it helps if people see the bigger picture.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Wayne, my brother, I'm going to leave the floor to you for your final words. You got a few minutes. Just take your time. If there's anything that you might wanted to add on for anybody in general for the
Not
topic.
really. I mean, I think I've more or less said my piece. Unfortunately, like I said, it's about, like you said, the trouble is we need to essentially hit the reset button on the whole country because the system doesn't work. It works how it's intended to work, but it doesn't help anyone. And that's up and down, whether it be poverty, whether it be abuse, whether it be the service. There just isn't anything to look forward. Like I said, going forward, I don't even know where to start. But the way I feel about the country now, I think it's only got one direction to go, and that's down, not up. And I don't even think we could fix it, even if we had a successful government that went in. Not that I believe in any of the parties. And this is the trouble when you feel this hopeless. What am I meant to do about my son?
Yeah.
And this is the sad reality that we're living in, because the day-to-day of even the thing, I mean, we don't even have weather on our side in this country, so we need something to keep us motivated. But like you said, obviously too much of anything is a bad thing. So social media obviously drags it out. You see it everywhere you go. And then obviously, as Lodi says, everything you're being fed, you have to look at the bigger picture as well, because you're not getting the whole story. You're only getting crumbs. So you got to look at it on a bigger scale. And yeah, it just, you end up feeling like, what's the point? And that's where it gets dangerous, because when you feel like that, you feel like nothing's going to change. So what's the point in trying?
I know, I agree with you. I understand. But just on that specific note,
not to end your life on a downer or anything, but it is just
No, I totally understand what you say, but I mean, for the viewers, if they're listening, you feel like that because you keep going down this path and you just keep stumbling. It's not changing, and success doesn't happen overnight. I mean, this is it.
It's everything that pushes together, and it does take truest bit of information. Since you said passing on information, I'd literally have it graved on the tombstone if I could even afford one of those when I go, and it would literally to be passing down is it's not what you know, it's who you know, because making the right contacts can get you a lot further in life than anything else that you learn, study, train. Doesn't matter, because unfortunately favoritism plays a big role in a lot of things. So even in this situation, if we could get the right judges, right court, right people that do want to fix the system, it would make a huge help. But it's finding out and working out who's got the two-face masks on. And as you said yourself, you're already seeing it where people are trying to join the organisation with ill intent to bring it down instead of boost it up.
Yeah.
And this is the upscale battle, because we all have something we want to protect.
Well, you see, just on the team side of it, I always tell all my team all the time, it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Mm-hmm. You get the right people in, you can get anything done. And, because we're talking about a whole nation, we only need a handful from each
100%. 100%. I mean, look at the statistics, they reckon, because the country knows itself. As according to the statistic polls, even Keir Starmer's only got a job based on the population of London. That's all that it was that got him in, because 48% of people were all that voted. You didn't even have the majority in this last thing, so it only takes a small percentage to make a shift. But this is where I was saying about obviously guarding the streets. If you start putting the monsters back in the shadows, so they stop feeling. But this is the attitude: is you have a lot of them that have that attitude of, well, I'm going to do it, and no one's going to stop me. Because even getting down to petty crime these days, I mean, how many poor Greg shops are you seeing on a daily basis where people are just going in, grabbing sandwiches and walking out because they just feel so bracing because the police won't even investigate? It's just sad, because you're like, I respect people, or I understand people that need it for desperate times and feel like that's their only option, and that might be their only meal for the day. But a lot of the time people are doing it where they're robbing things like alcohol, and that's just a necessity. That's not a need.
No, I 100%. I hope people listen to all of that, because it's very important. The last messages, I've always said this, words of wisdom, shall we say. There's ups and downs in everything. The only thing I'm going to add on, it's a case of you'll stumble, you'll fall. You just got to learn to get back up, and you got to have a reason to get back up. And what
This
the
is
only
where, it's like I said, looking for better days, and this is where it genuinely we need something to start getting that wheel in motion.
Absolutely, and this is what they're worried about. You see, the top people. This is what they're worried about, is having that wheel in motion. Now, the thing is, the wheel is actually already in motion, and it's building momentum. It's an opportunity for every person in the whole country, whether it's in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, UK. It's time to fight and stand up for that change. Okay, if we stand up for that change and stand up for the right, then we'll be able to stop all this, every bit of it. The corruption with social services, corruption with the police, the paedophiles, the G gangs within the authorities, the lot of it, we could deal with it. Because it's the only way we're going to have our nation in a safe place. You hear me read out so many names of MPs and the amount of links they have within the authorities, in the schools, it was just unbelievable. And they're all part of child abuse scandal. Absolutely shocking. But I hope people take a note of that. Thank you very much, Wayne. Neil, can I have you next, young man, please?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks to everyone that's joined tonight, shared their stories. Obviously, it's traumatizing and a difficult thing to do sometimes, but we are here for you. I heard something a few years ago that sort of is relevant now. Now, don't be a squashed squirrel, okay? When you're in the middle of the road, you end up being a squashed squirrel. Choose one side or the other. If you choose the wrong side, we're coming for you. You know, it's as simple as that. But, you know, divided we fall, mate, and united we stand. And I stand with you, Rangy. You're a good man. And that's all I've got to say, because I'm on 1% battery now, Rangy. All right, mate?
Well, we'll time that right then.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, the last words from me is going to be something very simple. If you don't understand what's been happening, go and speak to somebody who's lost their child. Go and speak to the families whose children have been raped, the brothers and sisters and mothers and daughters. Go have a word with them. These things are happening. We can't just stay silent. We don't have an option. And if we had an option, what side would you choose? It's like Neo said, which path are you on? If you stand in the middle, you're going to get run over. And you need to pick the side now. Which side do you want? And this goes for all our law enforcement as well. All the social services, our MPs, councillors, and judges. No exemptions. Don't care what colour, creed, religion, title you have. If you're on the wrong side, we are coming for you. We don't give a shit who you are. And if you're on the right side, it doesn't matter about all them titles. We are going to stand together and do what's right and protect every single person that we know about throughout the system, throughout the country, and throughout the planet. We got to work together. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you very much for everybody who's been in the boxes, who have spoken. A big encouragement for all those young sisters that came on. It was very brave of you. I really respect that. I want to say a big thanks to everybody who's been in the comments all night tonight. And I just want to leave by saying something very simple, that if you care, please get in touch. I'm just overwhelmed with the field that we're in. So I'm just going to leave it as the appeal for help and support. That appeal is for victims in your towns, in your local community, somebody's sons and daughters, mothers, fathers, grandparents who are suffering in silence. If you come forward and you could help us to help them, I'd really appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, apart from that, good night, God bless, stay safe, and get in touch with us. By the way, we do have a private Zoom. Anybody who wants to be part of a private Zoom where we're not sugarcoating it, and we'll give you all the evidence you need, all the power you need to move forward. So for me, the team, the guest, LCS News, good night.